So I was doing working with the Department of Labor with the with veteran programming, the HVRP program. So they were, when it comes to working with contracts, sometimes it's not reliable, right? Because especially if it's grant funded, depending, okay, sometimes it renews every 3 years, sometimes it renews every 2 years, whatever. But you have that in the back of your head. So I had to think about it because I have a lot of personal goals, and now that my daughter's older, I feel like I can finally identify like what I want to do.
Oh my god!
So I decided to do real estate full time.
This is gonna be a great.
That's amazing.
Like last week.
Congrats! That's amazing.
Last week, so I'm super nervous because especially with everything that's going on, coming up in August, of us having to make sure that we're in contract before we even let anyone view a property. So it's just a lot of different. A lot of changes, but I was like, you know what? I prayed a lot, and I was like, if I don't take a leap on myself,
Absolutely, yeah.
well, I'm gonna keep waiting and just be annoyed with that feeling, like, oh, I wish I could. I don't like I wish I could have. I'm like, oh, I hate that.
I think it's finally because, like you just said, your daughter's a little bit older now, and it's instead of like you saying, I'm a mom, because I feel that so hard of like being a mom, and like that becomes your full identity, and it's like
you hit it right on the nail.
You lost a little bit of who you were before, and then you become a mom. You're like, okay, now I'm a mom, but that's it, right?
But that's all you have time to be.
And then it's like, well, who am I now after they are a little bit older, or while you still have them young? It's like, but you're not just a mom, like you're still who you are. And it's like, that doesn't mean you have to give up on your goals. It doesn't mean you have to give up on yourself. You just have to learn who you are.
It's so tough because at first, I remember I was wait, let me make sure I like how I look.
You look great. You look great.
Fine, okay. Because I did my hair, but then I love the mirror. I want to buy you a mirror just to like put here so we can constantly check ourselves.
So just leave it on the table.
Just have like one.
Yeah, like one of the ones that get in Temu or something that just in case, you can move
Temu,
around.
That's a scam. Get out of here.
I love Temu.
No, they steal credit card information.
Unless it's so good.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
It's not much. I'll put one of my credit cards.
One of the fake cards, one of the burners.
It's fine because it's like all the things that I don't want to spend money on, but I want to try, I get on Temu. And then if I really like it, I'll get it on Amazon. That's my try. That's what I use.
That is so interesting.
That's what I do.
Can I get some examples, please?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Like, for example, the majority of the things for your kitchen and your bathroom, all these like little gadgets. So there's like this fold out, it's like a fold out roll. Wait, can you view this on the camera?
The napkin, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually don't hide it.
You can put it in here, Mira.
Okay.
But look at the mic. Yes, it's gotta be this. No, it's gotta be this close to your face.
Oh, like that.
So if you're moving, the mic's gotta move with you. Like hold it like this. If you're talking like this,
Hey, I'm gonna grab it.
or just scooch a
I
little
have
closer.
separation anxiety with the mic now.
Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Okay, we're good.
I'm telling you, the world is not ready for me right now. I'm not ready for myself while I'm learning. So you see the things that you roll out in the middle of in front of your sink, almost like a drying rack, but on top of the sink. So I wanted to try.
Oh, the metal things with the line.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I wanted to try it, but I didn't want to spend like any money on it. So I bought it on Temu.
Say for 16 cents.
I'm getting it.
Is it really that cheap?
There's stupid stuff, yeah.
It's because it's directly from the manufacturer. It just takes long to sometimes come. But so far I've had pretty good luck. When people tell me, give me negative reviews about Temu, I'm like, oh my God, I love them. They give me my stuff right away. What are you talking about? Yeah, they're good to me. They're good to me.
They probably like got all your information. They're like, yeah, we're good to
You
her.
know what? Like, go for it.
Really?
Go for it.
You've been so good to me. You deserve it.
You know what? Go try. Maybe that's why I've been getting more scam calls than likely.
Probably.
Maybe. And it's like, oh, get your personal financing. I'm like, okay, report junk. It's okay. And even if I were to have an X amount of dollars, if I get $1 million, I'm moving that real quick. It's not. All right, I'm not letting it sit there.
I feel you.
But yeah, going back to the conversation about motherhood, I didn't realize. So that's something that I shy away from when it comes to motherhood because it was pretty early. I always had that conflicting feeling like, okay, I served my country, but then I'm also leaving my daughter behind. So when people talk about like terrible twos, you could see me slowly like moving away from the conversation because it's still like a sore spot for me, right?
What do you mean?
In the sense I wasn't there.
Wait, so
So-
you had your baby before you went into service?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I'm thinking in my head you went into service and then you had your baby.
Oh no, I would have been married. I would have stayed there if that was the case. No, I had my daughter at 16. I was a high school. What is it? Teen mom.
Teen
Yeah,
Mom.
yeah, yeah.
They made a TV show about it.
Horrible example. Though.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was like, yeah, no. So since I grew up very traditional, being a teen mom was like the last thing you would want to be. So
I can imagine like a Latino household, like I can't.
I
I
made
can
me
hear
de-
the conversations
Oh my
now.
goodness, it made me develop tough skin though because I'm like, there is nothing you can say that will
That
offend
hasn't
me.
been-
Like at this point.
Yeah.
But moving forward, now that she's older, and I remember there was one time right before she was she came back from DC from her summer trip. No, she was not summer trip, her summer camps because she's in the arts, so she had to do these summer camps. So she got into a summer camp in DC. She came back and she was getting ready. You know, that week she was getting ready to go to Rutgers. And I'm like, Ali, what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do without me? And she's like, Mom, what are you gonna do when I leave?
Oof. Bars.
Let me tell you, I started bawling.
On the spot?
No,
Or did
maybe
it,
like 2
take
days.
It took a second to
yeah,
sink in.
It's 2 days. But I looked at her like, ill, you know, because I
Why are you being mean to me?
raised her to be very emotionally intelligent. Like I've had her, she was reading The Alchemist when she was like maybe 7.
Literally.
Yeah.
We got it.
That's a book that you have to read like every 5 years.
Yeah.
Because that's when, what is it, every 6 years that we produce new DNA or
7.
something?
Yeah.
Right? She was reading those type of like Art of War.
Nice.
You know, those
Think and Grow Rich.
Yes. Why anger will eventually give you a heart attack. Like things to be very emotionally intelligent.
Oh, wow.
Because I saw that, you know what, I know, I know that's going to help her because I was the one that, I was the guinea pig. So when she told me that, it really got to me because, everyone was like, oh my God, empty nest syndrome. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, my daughter's, I'm like, I'm still young. Like, what are you talking about? I'm going to still see her. It's not like she's going out of state, right? This past year has been like, I don't want to say the worst, but I don't know. Have you ever watched Parks and Rec?
In passing.
There's a guy, I forgot his character, but he always says the worst. And that's how I felt like every other week because I didn't realize how much of my identity was big time. Yeah. Tied to just being a mother. Like my schedule revolved around it. And I thought that was normal. I thought that's what you were supposed to do, right? But it left me like
Empty?
completely empty because I'm like, no, she needs to do this, take her to her activities, everything. So when she left, I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I don't know what to do with myself. And not in a bad way because you can go to the gym so much. You can talk with friends so much until you're just like, yeah, that feeling is not going away.
It's not hitting the same. It's because like you said, you tied yourself to that identity and that this is like a major point where it's taken away from you completely. And so now you have to like figure out who you are again. And it's like that moment
That's
of like
hard.
redefining yourself completely. Yeah, I think.
And that's like vulnerability has never been my strong suit, right? And then having to grow up young, well, quick because I was a young mom. But then afterwards, going into the service, and you can't really be emotional there. You have to be, stick to the mission, do what you have to do. You're there to do a job.
What made you want to go into the service after having your daughter?
And I laugh. So I didn't, even though I graduated with honors in high school, despite having a daughter, I never used her as a crutch. That sometimes I see a lot of women doing, right? That I'm like, no, you can do more. You can do better because kids lead by example. They don't lead by what you want to say, no matter how much we want to drill certain things in their head. So I really didn't see my daughter having a chance. if I didn't go into something that was more structured and that I had reliable, once I came out, I was going to have something for her. And as messed up as it seems, I was like, you know what, even if I die there, at least she'll have her life insurance, at least she'll have her benefits, at least she'll have this. Like, that's how I thought. And since I'm first generation, my mom didn't even know anything about financial aid. So even though I was emancipated, I was like, what the hell I'm like, I don't even know the difference between a grant or a loan. I'm like, you know what, the service seems easier. At that point, the service seemed easier.
Because it's just a sign up and they'll take care of everything else.
And that's it.
Like, you don't have to think about it. I think they kind of pry on that too.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, like,
I'm happy that later on I got into higher education because my main job was to help students go through the financial aid process. But it's just a full circle moment, because I remember being in their shoes, and a lot of these kids are scared to even ask their parents about taxes because they don't talk about finances. It's like it's still tabooed. And even though we've progressed and we're growing, there's still so much work to do. Like, go to the high schools, go to Passaic, go to certain parts of Jersey City. You're going to be like, wow, things have not changed as much, because it's not necessarily that the resources are not there, is that they're not aware of it.
I have a question, because you just, like, I don't want to say triggered, because that's like an overplayed out word, but you like made me remember a memory of when I was a kid, and I would ask my dad how much he got paid. And it was like, how dare you ask me how much? I'm your father. You cannot. And
like, why do you want to know?
Yeah. Like, and I was little, and he wasn't making that much. And so like I internalized, oh, he's probably not making that much, so he feels bad. And then like I got older, and he was making he made like a lot of money. And then I asked him again, I was like, hey dad, how much? You can't ask me that question. And so like, even when he had a little bit and when he had a lot, he still wouldn't tell me the answer, but he gave that same energy to me. Like, you're my son. You're not supposed to stay in your lane type of.
Yeah.
What is that?
I think it's a mixture of trauma and fear. I think it encompasses a lot of trauma and the way we grow up thinking that, oh, you can't know what the man of the household makes, or why are you asking about finances unless you're contributing? And it's like, how do you expect someone to contribute when they don't even understand what taxes are, when they don't, it just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
I think it also comes with like fear comes from unknown. And so
100%.
if it comes from like, oh, why would you even ask me that? It's because maybe they don't fully know themselves. And so it's like that lack of education. And it's not necessarily that they see, in your case, your dad seeing like a problem in what you ask, but it's also gonna be like, I don't know that I should be having these conversations with my son.
Yeah.
I don't know that I should share, like, that it's okay to talk about.
I mean, now we've gotten to the point where like we can like
like
go
that.
into like projects together. So like it's totally different now that I'm an adult. But it was like the only thing that changed his mindset was me passing like 24, 25. And then he looked at me as an adult, and it was a little more an equal playing field where he was like, oh, okay, he's doing his own thing. We can like team up and like do things together.
See, I feel like that's what sometimes I feel like our parents are now realizing that they're holding us a little bit back by being like that, because I have those difficult conversations. I'm the one in the family that you're not just going to say something without backing it up or saying anything, and I'm going to really, talk about money. I'm going to ask my mom, but why did you do this? And why did you do that? And you can get mad all you want, but I'll just wait until because feelings are temporary, right? And sometimes that may seem as insensitive, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you need to relax and pay attention to what's really at hand. If I'm asking you about something, I'm coming to you because one of the reasons I got pregnant was because when I was young, it was because of the lack of knowing. It was my first boyfriend, my first experience. I didn't know even how to come to my mother about what's going on.
Oh my God.
Let alone oh my goodness, my uncles.
Yeah.
That's
My
a whole
uncles,
other conversation.
they had a field day with me.
Because it's also like that, like machismo thing.
Yeah,
of like,
it is.
as a female, like you shouldn't. I don't know, but I think that's a conversation I've had with my mom too. It was like, why didn't you ever talk to me about sex? Why didn't you ever talk to me about like anything, or even just going to the gynecologist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's that, because my mom, kind of backstory, she had me when she got pregnant at 17. She gave birth when she was 18. So that
Young.
kind of very similar story. And we had our baby. I was already older, but there's instances beforehand where I was like, Mom, like, I really wish you would have talked to me about this, because now I wasn't comfortable going to you. And it's,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, it opens up room for not trust or not guidance, not having proper guidance, I
Yeah,
think
and
is
it
what
puts
it
us in a
is. You know what I
difficult
mean? Yeah.
position.
Mm-hmm.
Like then you're going to eventually trust somebody else.
Exactly.
Like my daughter's an overshare,
Mm.
right? And it's like a double-edged sword, because I'm like, oh, like I don't want to know, but at the same time, I value how much she trusts me, and what a great relationship.
How'd you build that trust?
Oh yeah, that's
By
so
being honest.
important.
What does that mean? What does that look like?
By when she was asking me questions, I would really go in detail with it.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I touch the stove? You know what? Come on, let's try it. But having that patience, that's why, that was with one kid, let alone when women have more than one or two kids, like more than one kid, I'm just like mind blown, because it's not easy. They require so much attention. And when when I'm hanging out with my mom and with my daughter, my mom would be like, oh, did you talk to her about this? All the things that I wish she would have told me. So I would have the upper hand, right? I'm like, yeah, I speak to her about that. She's like, oh, tú hablas, you talk about that with her? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, she even has a little book about it. She journals about it. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm not
But-
ready. I have two girls.
Because you have a girl, a little girl.
I have two girls.
Two girls. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. We have a 3 and a 1-year-old.
I think what's nice with our dynamic though is, one, my wife is super open and honest, and not only that, but she has a cousin, which is our firstborn's godmother, right?
Okay.
And so like we're always like that. Like, look, I know for a fact I don't want to hear half the stuff. I know that off rip, right? But you have your mom, and if you don't have your mom, you have your titi. Right. And so talk to
Yes.
them and like literally get out everything, because the last thing I want is for you to talk to your little friends about it and they don't know their ass from their elbow and give you some stupid advice and you follow it thinking that their word is law, and we end up with the shitty end of the stick.
Absolutely, because you want your kids to succeed no matter what. And that's what I tell my daughter. I'm like, listen, even if I'm upset with you, I don't want anything bad to happen to you. So I'm going to help you, whether I'm mad, sad, angry, whatever emotion you want to come up with.
How did you build that comfort of like, yo, I'm going to be mad at you if you say something, but I still want to hear what you're saying? Like, how did she like?
I always
'cause
had
it's
very honest
intimidating.
conversations, but my approach with her was very like an open book. I'm an avid reader, she's an avid reader, and I would tell her, I'm like, what are you curious about, right? Like she would sit down with me when I for my undergrad I studied biology, so all the books, since she was little, she never ripped a page because I had her accustomed to like, okay, we're learning together. In reality, I'm studying and I have no choice for her to be with me. But at the same time, she was learning. So when she asked, it was out of curiosity. It wasn't out of disrespect, the way our parents took it, right? So I always tried to like, I would go to Barnes and Noble. I'm like, oh, let's find a book. When I couldn't put up the words, I'm like, I need a book. I need to give her a book and we'll figure it out together. You can write a summary about it.
Take notes.
Yeah, I will.
Let me tell you, because even though my daughter is very observant, right? Very good judge of character too. But she would need to be like, she would read a book and then she would read a chapter and look at me. And I'm like, she's probably coming up with her questions. But I had to give her the safe space to like express herself and tell me how she really feels. Because for instance, she sings opera.
Nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
And the reason I
That
have
is
this face
amazing, yeah.
is because you're going into the arts. I'm like, how are you going to support her yourself? How are you, I'm thinking about all the other things because of the way I'm basically putting my fears and doubt on her, right? If I told her not to pursue what she really wanted. And I remember this conversation because we were in our apartment and she's a little upset. And I know I may not be that expressive with my emotions, but my daughter's the complete opposite. She's like, come here, love me, hug me, which is great because she's healing that part of me that, I didn't, it's still, I want to say right now still has, not a Band-Aid, but maybe like super glue. But I lost track of what I was going to say with her. Okay, studying opera. And she had a conversation with me and I asked her, I'm like, what do you want to do? I'm like, if I paid for the school, the whole thing right now, what would you want to do? And she's like, Mom, I want to sing opera. I'm like, then do that. I'm like, because eventually if you study something that I want you to study because she's good in math, I wanted her to go into finance, of course, right? You're not going to be happy and then you're going to lose interest and then your passion is going to leave. What I want you to have is consistency and self-discipline if that's something that you want, right? Because with her, oh my God, she's one of those, not because she's my daughter. I've worked with kids at different ages and teenagers and also being in higher education. But you see those kids that are really passionate about things and that they're really self-disciplined. Like she's tough. Like she's singing in German, in Italian, in
Wow.
and I'm just like, I'm here thinking, oh, why are you going into the arts? And when I see her do her homework and practice, I'm like, is this? It's like reading another language, and she just does it with ease. And she made the dean's list the whole year, her first year. So you know what? She's handling her business. And actually, she's actually working for the county.
No way.
Yeah. So she's doing, I have no complaints.
That's awesome.
Even though she overshares everything, at the same time, she's 19. She's at that age.
Oh my God.
At the same time, I'm like, you know what? At least she's coming to me. And you said something that really resonated with me about, okay, you may not come to us, but you can go to your titi, right? And having strong and ethical individuals around your kid is crucial.
So
let it be
important.
family, let it be good friends that you trust, especially with little girls. Because
So important.
you have to be careful. You just have to be careful.
Trust me.
And
We know. Yeah.
so with my daughter, she can go to her godmother. She can go to one of my good friends. She can go to my sister. She has so many people around her that are not going to allow her to, I don't want to say fail, because experience, everyone is going to experience something.
It's good failure.
Exactly. So you don't have that. She feels safe because I know what that feels to not be able to go anyone and have to figure it out, or having to stand in the line of social services where the majority of the times they treat everyone like crap. So having experienced that, I feel like I could empathize when people are, especially when my daughter's like, Mom, I don't know what to do with something. How about this? I'm like, all right, let me sit down and walk you through it versus like figure it out, because that's how I was raised. Figure it out. You need to learn. I don't know English. I'm here doing the applications, for my parents versus the other way around.
How do you find time to set aside for your kid when you're trying to focus on, like, because you were single, right?
Yeah.
The whole time doing it. So like, how do you make sure that you have enough food on the table, house over your guys' heads, and still have the time to, hey, you want to touch a stove? Come on, let's go touch it together.
I would take her with me.
Really?
She was part of my work life, my everything. Like, no excuses. You're coming to class with me. And it was I remember I was
Is that allowed?
Yeah.
well, if your kid behaves. Like, she was I had her in a strict regimen. And you have to ask the professors, this professor's discretion and your job as well. So I remember I was taking a math course and I was in Seton Hall, and everyone was looking at me like, you have a kid? Oh my God. And I felt like, we're already in college,
I hate
people.
that
Like,
look.
leave
Yeah,
me
it's
alone.
so
Like,
gross.
obviously she's older. And it got to the point that sometimes I would say, yeah, that's my sister. Just to not deal with,
The looks and the judgment.
yeah, I just don't, like, leave me alone.
get it.
I'm here working, I'm studying. Like,
Like,
well,
it's none of
why
your
do you want to
business.
know? But at that point, at that time, I'm like younger. I'm stressed from going to work, having all these odd jobs and going to school, because when you're in college, you don't want to really have a full-time job because then you won't get as much financial aid.
Were you a waitress? I feel like that was the
100%.
best. That was the best college
I was a
job.
waitress in the city, and I was a dog
Bartender.
walker in Hoboken.
Ooh, no way.
So everything that's Hoboken and parts of downtown Jersey City, but primarily
Were you one of the ones with like 17 dogs?
never,
Oh,
never. Why? Because a lot of the dogs that I had, they were bigger dogs, but I would work out with them.
oh, that's cool.
So the most that I had, it was 2 at a time.
And you just like go on runs and stuff.
I would go on runs with them. I'll never forget. I have 2 dogs that passed away, but oh my goodness, they became, because I'm walking them 7 in the morning, 11 a.m. and then again at 6, 7 p.m. Right, so they became like fam. They're
your dogs.
they're my dogs. And I remember there was one Rosie. Rosie was her mother had her on medication, and Rosie wanted I felt like she would tell me, don't give me medication. So then I would give her medication after our run. But she had gained so much weight of the medication that she was on, and that when I was walking her, she lost a total of 15 pounds. Healthy. Oh my goodness. But they know, they have to understand, because whenever I would tell her, I'm like, all right, Rosie, smile for the camera, she would smile.
They understand.
Yeah, they understand.
And then when I would tell her not to smile, she'll get serious. So I'm like, oh my God, I was like, you know all of this. And she was a big, I forgot but they're the dogs they're all black. They have really silky,
Doberman?
no, really silky, and they're white on the bottom, and their paws are like a brownish reddish.
I don't know if I know that.
Are they super skinny? Like
No,
a
they're
greyhound?
no. Oh goodness,
big.
it'll come to me. It'll come to me. But that was
not a
my
boxer.
Rosie. No.
How did you work with your daughter? Like, how did you have her there? And then
I would bring
As
her
a
with me.
waitress?
And she would just be good?
She would be in the car. She would come with me. She would know the dogs. She would.
She wouldn't be like fastidiosa, like
No.
touching stuff?
No, she knew that. She knew that work was work, school was school. But I always had strict.
How old
routines
was
with
she
her.
at this time as
yeah,
well?
how old is she?
Oh goodness, that was when I came back from the service. So she was already like 4. She was still pretty little.
Yeah.
She's little.
But she knew that, all right, you're going to throw your tantrums in the house, not here. And I would just have to look at her, and she knew that, okay, that's it. So maybe it was I raised her a little militant, but now that she's older, it's paid off. She wakes up, she sticks to her alarm, she studies when she has to. That's it. She's her own person. She does her own thing. That there are times that I'm like, you wanna eat with me? You want some sushi?
She's not disciplined.
I'm like, not right now. Maybe after I study this chapter. And I'm like, oh man. I'm like, sure.
So wait, okay, I find this very fascinating. Can you please go into the details of what does it mean to raise a child in a militant manner?
Oh man, it's
Like
a lot
the
of
day-to-day.
depression. I'm just kidding. It's a lot of nights crying, I did the
But
right
like,
thing.
okay, so like the main reason I'm asking is because like if I've heard it everywhere, right? And it's like if you say no, it's no. You can't give in, like at all. And then she'll be like, "But papi, please," and I'll be like, "All right, fine." And
I would debate with her. I'm like, convince me. I would tell her, I'm like, convince me why I should let you do this. My trick was I would give her the 2 choices that she still has to do, like either brush your teeth first or put your pajamas first. She still has to do both, right?
Yeah.
But just giving them the
Some type of
illusion of a
authority.
choice
Yeah.
is what they want. So at that age. And what helped me so much is the fact that I would read and she would read. So we would read together. She was just she would think adventures were trips to the bank. Because I would let her all right, I'm writing this one, you write on this one. So she was just.
My mom would do the same exact thing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to,
Yeah.
because if not, I didn't really have, my mom was really upset that I had a daughter, so she wasn't as supportive as she could be. So I had to just take her. I didn't have and then I'm paranoid
Who
already.
watched her when you were in the military?
It was my mom and somewhat her father.
Sure.
But that was tough because you never know what's really going on.
Of course. No.
So that's what
Right.
I feel like that's what doesn't get spoken about a lot. Like, okay, yeah, everyone yay for veterans, but veterans are also parents. And what about the family? The family is being affected because every time you go back in, I was active duty. So whenever I would visit, then I would come back weeks later or months later, and you're not the same, So your family has to deal with that. And I was just fortunate that I didn't use it as like an excuse. I used it more as like, how can I do better? There's a reason why this is happening to me, instead of having that victim mentality. Because I got two things that stuck to me. One of them really hurt me, and the other one was like, you know what? It changed my perspective. Someone told me when I first had my daughter, I think it was someone in one of the social services office, you're not the first or the last one, so it's not a big deal that you're here.
Oh, like you're not important.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Sucks.
You are kind of right. I can't get offended. I'm like, okay, so can you help me? At that point, I'm like, thanks for the mean quote.
Yeah,
like,
what
whatever.
was the point of that? Yeah.
The second one, someone told me, you still look fairly young. Don't mention that you have a daughter because people are not going to hire you. I wanted to die because this lady that told me this, I looked up to her. Like, wow, she has her business going on. She has her family. She looks like she has it all together. So I'm like aspiring to be like, wow, how can I shadow you? How can I be there,
like
right?
You.
So imagine if someone tells you that you're looking up to. I felt crushed. I was like, okay, I guess.
Is that what you did? Did you follow that advice?
No. You could tell by how she responded.
I didn't, but I was just in shock because I was like, I'm here setting up my schedule in school. Like, okay, let me shadow her. Let me talk to her. And
how'd you meet her? How'd you find out about her?
She was a professor.
Oh, okay.
She was a professor, and then she also studied, in like dabbled around in higher education in like some of the programs. And yeah, like looked at me dead in the like right there, and told me, make sure you don't mention that because they're not going to hire you. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I was offended because I'm here. I'm like, I'm looking up to this lady, and she's like, what, you want me to hide who I am? Like, I can't hide. That's part of, at that moment, it was part of my identity. I'm like, that's all, my schedule revolves around my kid.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm doing that. No way. And if I have to do that, maybe that's not the place for me.
Exactly.
What was those jobs that she was talking about?
Corporate.
Oh, just like anything.
Yeah, corporate. Any corporate jobs. She was like, not to do it.
I don't even think that's like a viable like thing anymore. Like maybe back in her time, but like.
Yeah, and you know what? That's really, a lot of people try to put their doubt and their fears on you. And I'm glad that I checked myself when I was like, I remember when my daughter first told me she wanted to go into the arts, I was like, I'm like, oh man, like, what are you gonna do? Sing to your landlord? Like. But it's coming from a place for me, a fear of like, you know what, you have to pay bills. She doesn't have, the trajectory of her life is so different than what I've lived through, right?
Yeah.
And it's not fair that I'm here limiting her based on my past experiences. But that's something that our family does constantly, and we just like, oh, it's whatever.
Subconsciously too, just out of just pure being comfortable with it. They don't even realize that they're doing it.
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't. I check my mom every time she does it. I check her. I'm like, Mom, you shouldn't say that. Like anytime there's joke about it here and there, fine. But to constantly talk, when my daughter was breaking out, she would call my daughter Pimple, and I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yo, Spanish moms are mean, bro.
Brutal.
So mean. You
know what? Think about your mother whenever you're going through something, and just be like, I'm fine. This is light work. Let me actually call my mom. But I had, I always have to tell her, I'm like, that's not nice. At the end of the day, it's not nice. How do you expect my daughter to like go up to you? And she's not raised the same way we are, right? And then she's like, "Ay, Gloria, okay," but brushes it off.
I don't mean it like that.
Yeah, I don't mean it like that.
My mom was saying something to my daughter.
She called her daughter ugly. I was like, don't say that. How are you gonna say that right to her face? Mira esta feita. I was like, bro, what are you doing? I was like, come on. She knows what that means. She's 3 years old.
I don't mean it like
she's
that.
like, not like that. I was like, what other way?
What other way? Like, words have meaning for a reason. What do you mean? Oh my God. But I think that's something that we just share. Like, that's how our parents are. Right now we're slowly healing
I do like it though. I can't lie. Like, because like at the end of the day, it's like one, it's their generation, and their generation is tough, right? Like just
Oh,
like
God.
bulletproof.
Very.
And this generation now is soft, like Play-Doh.
It's sensitive.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
soft.
it's a combination of being overly sensitive and it's just soft. I'm like, have you ever been punched? I feel like if I could be candid,
Yeah.
two
be
questions that I want to be
Yeah.
candid with. I always want to know jokes. You know how some kids are like, "Oh, you have games on your phones on your phone." I always want to ask people. I'm like, "Do you know any jokes?" The other one is like, "Have you?" I do. I'm like, "Do you have any jokes?" The other one is, "Have you ever been punched in the face?" Because I think, or like got into a fight, or got slapped.
Yeah.
Because I think that really changed. It wakes you up a little bit, and it puts you into like, you know what? There are consequences. I feel like now a lot of kids, they think that there are no consequences.
Privileged.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not proud of it, but I've had my little scuffles growing up, and I think that's important
Yeah. I
to
agree.
know that someone can shake you up a little bit.
Because it's reality. It's like, oh, okay. No, if I do this, that happens. Okay, I'm not gonna do that again.
Yeah, exactly. Like I had my daughter in martial arts growing up.
Cool.
Her whole life. Being so she could have more self-control, obviously defend herself. But it really like, you know what? Her attitude is different.
It matures you. Yeah.
It really does, because someone can literally kick you or
Beat
punch
your
you.
ass, yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay. I think that's
It's
I think
humbling.
that's
We need to be
okay.
humble as people. Yeah.
Yeah, so if put them in sports or put them in some type of martial arts, because they will thank you later on.
Yeah.
And it puts a
Brazilian
good
jiu-jitsu.
regimen.
Yeah. No, I was already thinking about it because we have her in
We were in
And then-
ballet.
yeah, we have her in dance class right
Which is
now.
That's
Cool.
great.
It's cool.
That's great. If she likes it.
But the thing is, I want the teacher from like Black Swan. I never saw the movie, but I know it's a very strict teacher.
I
mean,
don't
is that not a good? That's the only ballet movie I know.
I never saw Black Swan. I know
Me
that I
neither.
just saw the black.
That's what I'm going off of, yeah.
Natalie Portman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
Is
like,
that a bad reference?
I would think
Because I heard it's a bad movie. Like it gets like weird, but I don't know exactly how.
It's
Like I
not
don't know how
bad.
weird
It's-
it gets.
You've watched it?
No,
I've watched it. I just
She
can't
grows like
remember.
wings or something out of her back.
No, it's not even about that. It's that she goes through a transformation, and this whole time she's thinking that she's friends with somebody, but it's really herself. Like,
Oh, so she's
So-
schizo.
Oh, yeah.
so we think that it's too real. Like, it's
Why'd
too
you ruin
different.
it?
So she's
Now we
losing her
can't-
mind.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
we
just
can't even watch the
are
movie
you-
anymore.
I-
You ruined
I
it.
You
didn't
know
mean to
what?
spoil
Now that
it.
you're talking about movies,
I
I think Long Legs,
Daddy
with
Longlegs?
No.
with
What did she say?
That's what I wanted to
Daddy
say.
Longlegs?
No, it's a new movie coming out. I think Nicolas Cage is producing it.
Oh,
It's called
jeez.
Long Legs,
it
but
good?
it's supposed to be one of the scariest
I
movies.
don't watch scary movies.
I used to be obsessed with scary movies.
No, I just like
I
really, really
can't.
scary
I
movies.
don't
can't
get that
do
blue
it
heady out of my
anymore.
face. I don't
Yeah.
want to see nothing.
I wanna
about it.
watch
I
that.
go like this.
I do want to watch that.
Yeah.
Because I like Nicolas Cage.
I do too, but he's so corny.
From Con. Oh, he's super corny.
Yeah.
So corny.
From National, what was it? National Treasure?
I never watched any of those.
Oh, I love those.
No?
All of those.
No, what I watched, what made me fall in love with Nicolas
Da
Cage
Vinci
was
Code.
Con Air.
Con Air. Why does that sound so
I've seen
familiar?
it.
No?
It's so familiar. It sounds familiar, but I don't think I ever saw it.
Con Air. It's an old 90s
yes,
movie.
With the airplane.
Yes.
Yeah, duh, an
The-
airplane.
Yes.
No, but it's the
They're all cons in an
What?
airplane.
I love con movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
How have I never seen
So
this? Is it like Gone in 60 Seconds type of a vibe?
No, it was done in the 90s, but he's a ranger. And then he ends up killing someone accidentally, defending his wife that's pregnant, then ends up being a convict, then ends up being transported with a bunch of other convicts. But these convicts are just
God.
like
Crazy.
crazy.
Oh God.
And then a lot of things happen around there. I'm not gonna
So,
spoil
all right,
it
so we
for
gotta
you.
watch it. We gotta watch it. Con Air.
Super corny, but it's good.
Yeah. I love movies like that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we need to discipline our child. We need to put her in sports, and dancing is okay. But I think yeah, like her teachers.
Dancing helps with sports.
Her teachers are so soft. I don't know. Like, and granted, we're not allowed to like stay and watch the whole class. So like, I don't know if they're like being like strict with her and it's like, hey, your toes aren't.
Well, I she's 3, so I do want to get her into a better school. then
Yeah, she's old enough to like where like if you get right. I see these TikToks and these videos of kids in China and they're like basketball all synchronized. There's like 100 of them and they're all synchronized with the basketball. And then they're running down the obstacle course. Like I want my 3-year-old to do that stuff.
I think it's just a routine, keeping that routine.
I think it's what you said earlier is that they do everything.
So I could do it
you
myself.
do.
I just need to be a better dad.
It's like you have they literally model behavior, and that's
all right. So we're gonna start doing obstacle courses, everything. But okay, so like that's hard though. So like if I genuinely want to start doing obstacle courses with her, we never did it before. And we go to the park. The park, there's an open field where we could do it at, but then there's also the playground. And she's gonna be like, "Poppy, I want to go to the swing." And I'm like, "No, we got to focus on the obstacle course." And it's like,
I would balance it. You know, how to reward her, letting her know, okay, if we play here, we have to do 20 minutes of here, and then we go back to the playground. But you have to make it fun. You have to make it fun.
I try to teach her how to ride the bicycle, and she goes backwards. And I'm like, I don't know how you go. Yeah, she pedals like backwards, and it breaks the bike, and she just doesn't go forward. And I'm like, it's so frustrating. I don't know how to make that fun for me or for her. And so like, what do you mean rewards? Like, what does that even mean?
I mean, it depends on what you're.
Do I have a cookie? I have cookies in my pocket every time she like pushes the pedal. I give her a cookie.
No, I used to at one point I used to have Cheerios in my pocket.
It's like a dog.
No, that's so funny.
Yeah, it was hard. It was horrible. And then to get her to eat, this is such a nasty story. When she was younger, she was very picky at eating, right? And she would like to mix her food with water. Gross.
Kids do that.
Gross. So one time, I'll never forget this. She had a plastic little white cup and rice and chicken in there with the water.
Oh, stop.
And you see the grease. You see the grease. You see the grease on the top. And I'm looking at her. She's having the time of her life. I'm like, Ali, you like that? She's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, oh, my God. Girl, I'm like, get your chicken mouth away from me. And then another thing she liked, garlic. She always had garlic in her hands. Straight up garlic. Gross. And when she was little, she was, my daughter was like obsessed with my cheeks, right? Yeah. And she would be like, oh, mommy, you're so pretty. You're so pretty. And I'll smell garlic. And I'm like, oh, get these little nasty kid hands away from me. So gross.
That's awesome. I love that.
Oh, my goodness.
It's such a good memory.
Horrible. I remember it still like makes me want to like throw up because I was so grossed out. Just imagine, when you make soup with like chicken, something that has that oil.
It bubbles up.
Oh, why she do that? But she was having the time of her life, and I'm like, you know what? She needs to eat. It's just water.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Whatever. And I'm like, I'll put a little Cheerio on top, and she would still eat it. She loved Cheerios. It was very unorthodox, but it got her going. So I'm like, you know what?
As long as you're fed.
It's nothing bad, she'll be fine. She'll be fine.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, that was gross.
Okay,
Very
so
gross.
fast forward now that she's 19 years old, right?
Yes.
You have this empty nest feeling. At what point did you want to go from higher education or did you work in higher education?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To real estate.
So I got into real estate accidentally, and that was something I shared with you before. I was in higher education. I had met my instructor, and she pitched the idea. She was like, how about we open up a real estate school at the universities? And I'm like, you know what? That's something that we can do with the students. They can take this course, get some credits, and have the option to take their exam as well. And the way I saw it, it was an initiative that we could do to teach them about, quote unquote, the American dream, to have, ownership. And the majority of students, when they get out of college, they're not going to land their dream job. So at least if they have some type of real life skills and are aware of what's going on, because they're young, they can open up a credit card. A lot of them, their credit is still good.
Yeah.
So you don't want, you want to make them aware of what's going on. So we did that, and I helped her throughout the course as far as like, proctoring, making sure the schedule and proctoring the practice exam, like things like that. So then, and I didn't get my license then. She then contacts me and she's like, why haven't you received your license? Gone and got your license. And I'm like, well, I'm in higher education. That's not for me. She's like, Gloria, you weren't doing the whole class. Go get your license. It would be something that would benefit you. You like people. You truly care about people's well-being. And I'm like, you know what? Fine. If I have a small Italian lady telling me to do something, she reminded me of my nonna, and I'm like, I have to do it. Maybe, she was talking through her because she even looked a little bit like my grandma from my father's side. So I took the course again, but I did it online just to do it because the time had passed. And then I passed, and yeah. And then I'm here, but I slowly went into it because I was hesitant. I've never worked just for myself. I've always worked in a more structured setting, and I always thought that was like the most reliable and safest thing to do. But now I'm just like,
betting on yourself, I feel like, is the best.
It's better. I feel like there's better satisfaction because a lot of people are like, focused on the, oh my God, what I'm going to have. And I'm like, the processes was cool because you really, when you start documenting what you're going through, and when your old friends, your old true friends see you, they're like, oh, you changed so much. You look different now when you talk. That's where the magic is. Not because once you get it, okay, you got it.
Yeah.
But how did you get there? How did you go, surpass all these like negative thoughts when you were having them? How did you get grounded again? Like, that's what's, I feel like that's the magic. That's why whenever,
how do you ground yourself?
I work out.
Do you ever?
I'm going back to working out.
No, that's a great,
awesome.
I think that's a great therapy. But have you grounding yourself is like rooting yourself in your current situation in life, right?
Asking myself those difficult questions. And you said something right now, like, how do I solve this? Like, do I just become a better father? Yeah, be better.
How?
Like, how
mentorship?
and the way
I gotta buy a coach. I gotta pay $50,000 a year. Get a coach?
No, it's like those read Atomic Habits.
I did.
So, but there's a difference
Please do
between
it.
How
knowledge
you say
applied and knowledge acquired.
Yes,
Let's go.
yes, full circle. Because once having those, how could you want to be around the best if you're not becoming the best? How could you? It's like
You don't
basically
deserve to be in that circle.
Basically, you're being a hypocrite, right? I can't expect my daughter to be on time, to go to sleep early, if she's not seeing that from me. How can I expect her to continue going to school and finishing this if I'm not doing it? There has to be some I feel like I have enough skill that I'm like, you know what? I can figure things out. I can ask for help. But that's another thing, learning to ask for help. And that's something that I've learned because I'm like, I can't. I'm like over here telling my daughter to do something, but then I'm not doing it. It just doesn't feel right. And kids notice. Kids know. Especially when they're really smart. Like my daughter's, she always surprises me of how smart she is, and she knows.
Can you give me an example of, the life of Gloria, and stuff starts to happen and you feel yourself becoming disconnected and not grounded? Like, what pulls you from being grounded? And then how does your mind process work? Is it like, oh, I feel myself lifting up and not being grounded, I just go to the gym and then it fixes itself? Or is it like, how, can you walk me through that process?
You have to have time. For me, okay, so like, let's say something disrupts my flow, right? Something upsets me, or a transaction or a situation. And then for me, I like to dissect what happened. Like, why is this making me feel like this? Is this like a trigger from something in the past that I'm like, why am I being so upset over this one thing? And actually diving in, again, my brain with, yes, not asking anyone. First, you have to ask yourself, what can I do better? Or what did I do wrong? Was I actually wrong in this situation? And being okay with that. But being honest with yourself. I feel that a lot of people are not honest with themselves because they want to put up this facade because it looks good, right? But when you're honest with yourselves, when you're honest with yourself, you really, it emulates. people see that transparency, and it makes it easier for you to work with someone. Because I know it's hard to work with someone that's like jittery and nervous, and I'm like, are you?
Anxious.
Yeah, you feel the anxiety. At least I do. Especially a lot of women, we're more susceptible to. I think I said it right. I know how to spell it.
Acceptable, yeah.
To that feeling. So
Empathy. It's having empathy, and sometimes it's at our detriment. It's like I feel it too much, and now I experiencing myself, and I can't. But
I have an example, a recent example. I'm used to talking to the general public, doing speeches, and I pride myself in that, because working with teenagers, having to go into the gym with seniors, let me tell you, that's scary. Toddlers and teenagers are the two scariest groups.
why?
Because they're crazy. Little toddlers are ruthless.
No, toddlers I'm terrified of.
Teenagers are full of courage and like, not testosterone, but
yeah, they are.
hormones.
Yeah.
Hormones. Yeah.
Crazy.
Okay.
So then I recently, last month, I received the nationwide, I received the Veterans Homeless Outreach Award, right?
Nice. Congratulations.
And thank you. So then I had to go up in front of all these majority men to speak and, let them know what I do, a speech. I got so nervous. It was a prestigious award, part of the community that I serve. But I was so nervous, and I'm like, why am I so? I'm like, what the hell's going on? It was a deep-rooted feeling of when all my milestones in life, I had to deal with them alone. Yeah, I had my daughter, but I didn't really have a support system to be rooting for me. So when I was receiving this award, it took me back. And because I just saw my daughter and she's filming me, and I'm like, oh, it just took me back of like how I've dealt with things my whole life, right? And wanting to have my family around, but whatever, it is what it is. But I'm happy that I at least identified what was going on. Like in the beginning, I got nervous.
Wait,
I even
like
got
while you were
tongue-tied.
on stage?
Yes.
You did all this analyzation while you were giving the speech?
Right before when
my
someone,
God.
yes.
How? You're
Oh my goodness. I was so nervous. And in the beginning, when I started talking, I even got tongue tied. And I remember when I got off stage, my daughter was like, Mom, what was wrong with you? I'm like, and I'm like, I picked it up. She's like, yeah, but you were like nervous. I've never seen you like that. And then later on, I told her why. And
It made sense.
but identifying that, right? Because if not, it would always come back and get me. And I think that that's what we have to do as professionals. We have to be right with our personal situation to a certain extent, right? No one's perfect, but in order to work with the general public, I feel you have to be okay with your personal life, because when something else is going on, you're distracted. It's hard for you to focus on that transaction. And, when I work with my clients, I want to give them my full undivided attention. I want to make sure, this is a huge decision when they're buying property. Of course, there are times that you work with investors and it's like, whatever, literally just an investment. But for the majority of people, this is a huge decision. And even if they don't purchase a house at the moment, at least they take away some knowledge. They take away like, you know what, maybe let me do a little bit more research, or maybe I need to improve my credit a little bit more so I can have more options if you connect them to a great lender. So it always ties to me like making sure that you're right first.
It's kind of like put your mask on before you put someone else's mask.
Yeah. You can't pour from an empty cup. As tough as our generation, as the way my family taught me, you really can. You really have to dig deep and learn yourself, and lie to the world if you have to, but do not lie to yourself, because you end up destroying yourself. Like you're going to be having a war within when you don't have to. And one thing I don't allow my daughter to do is don't do any of the negative self-talk. I'm like, the whole world can do that for you. Why are you going to be the one doing it for yourself? I'm like, that's kind of dumb, right? She'll be like, yeah.
Yeah, people gonna talk shit regardless.
Yeah.
But why be one of those people to yourself? It doesn't make any sense.
I like the Socrates approach. Socrates, he said he was such a great philosopher because he would allow his students to come to their truth. meaning asking them questions versus you telling them what to do. So I would always have conversations with my daughter and ask her, and I'm like, yeah, but what about this? I'm like, all right, so do you feel I should do that then? If you want to do that?
I see that works with, yeah.
Especially with kids,
yeah.
because
Works with the adults too.
yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
It does. But you have to do that inner work. What is it called? Some people call it shadow work. You really have to do that work with yourself.
Okay, I think it is just inner work. It's just like that.
Yeah, because now we're in a movement, or maybe that's all the things that I've been reading, but maybe it's that the algorithm is like, giving me all
Pushing all that stuff.
But it's like doing that inner work is key. Because just imagine if the better someone knows themselves, the easier they are to trust. Because I know myself to a certain extent that I know how I am going to be in certain situations. I know what situations I may not be able to control myself that I should just stay away from. But you don't get to do that unless you really ask yourself those tough questions and are truly honest with yourself.
So if someone is like, okay, I need to do the work, how does someone start if they've never done that before? Like, how did you get started in that,
So when I grew up very traditional, I was always reading the Bible, right? Reading a passage. Everything was an example of a passage. But then as you get older, you see how hypocritical people truly are.
What do you mean? Like in people in real life?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So then for me, it was more reading and helping others. I felt like I found a lot of my strength by helping others because I would see how their life would change. Or, I have students that I help them with their financial aid. And till this day, they follow up with me. They have a whole family, double masters, and, living in beautiful condos and, looking over the Hudson. And I'm just like, but they constantly have that follow up with me. And I think it happened because at one point I was their only support system. And, inner city kids, sometimes when you go to school, that's the only support system that they have.
The opportunity for, yeah.
So for me, how I started doing that inner work is taking accountability. Taking accountability and just trying new things.
Accountability for yourself?
For myself.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean, taking accountability for yourself?
I wasn't like, when I would get offended from that professor, what she said to me, right? I didn't let that harden my heart. I was like, you know what? Let me learn. Maybe, you know what? Let me educate my daughter. Let me show her what it is. I want my daughter to be proud of me. And not only that, but to be proud of herself. So I felt like I slowly started becoming what I wanted to be by trying new different things. But I spend a lot of time with myself. And when I say with myself, it's like having those 5 minutes of you just actually feeling instead of ignoring. Because I'm great at that, ignoring.
Feeling your feelings. Like my mom would, for example, literally, she's like, I don't have any problems. So I was like, okay, all I do is go to sleep. Like,
oh, that's her solution.
That is the best way of knowing that you're not dealing with anything.
Suppressing.
She's
yeah, you're suppressing. Eventually that explodes.
I was gonna say, I feel like suppressing is like a pimple, and eventually it pops and it goes all over everybody, and you're like, oh shit, that was gross.
Yeah, like Osmosis Jones, like that type of pimple. I don't know if you saw like that type of pimple. That's the image that you have to have when you're suppressing your emotions. Yeah. Obviously, don't go out there crying every 5 seconds, but at the same time, pay attention to how you're feeling and actually like, why did I feel that way? Did I exaggerate? Did I create this whole fantasy in my head to get disappointed? What was it? But you're
evaluate and adjust. Evaluate and adjust.
Like a business too.
Yeah. Literally, it's like, okay, recap.
You have to. Oh God. And it's so hard because sometimes you're just like, especially when people disappoint you, we can't help but sometimes put them on a pedestal, right? And not on purpose. It's just, we like them. They're a great person. So when they disappoint you, sometimes you try to, you give them the benefit of the doubt when in reality, your gut was telling you something else. And you know what? That's okay. That's something that maybe they have to work on. And it's tough. It's tough because for me, when I can't get the words out, I'll go for a walk. I'll just get some fresh air because that's for free. But really be by yourself. I feel like sometimes a lot of people are not alone, and it's like stacking. They continue stacking hiding one problem with another person, and it just keeps on, to the point that you're just not going to be able to do it anymore, and you may hurt you're going to continue hurting people or not being able to open up completely to someone. So it's different. For me, being by yourself, doing some type of physical activity, always. Let it be boxing, swimming, walking, jumping rope. Just you have to
Get it out.
Let the energy.
yeah, let all that nervous energy out. Because one thing, my grandfather from my mother's side was in the military, and so my mother she was very healthy, but as far as like working out or anything, she would always dance, right? She was like, "Oh, babe,
That's
go
a workout.
dance, go
I
do
danced salsa for
her-
like an hour. I'm like, bro, my legs were
Yes,
on fire.
do Zumba, her little Zumba classes." But I grew up with that mentality. Like, you know what? If you're not feeling well, go take a walk. Go move. Go clean. Go do something. Yeah, sometimes that wouldn't be the most healthiest way, but at least it gets you going instead of staying stagnant in what you're feeling and feeling stuck.
Yeah.
Funny you say that. I think that was one of the main reasons why I worked. So I lived here, right, for majority of my life, but I like worked in the city, right, as in the restaurants, and like I don't even know if it was like consciously or unconsciously, but like I would end up in Port Authority, right, and then I would end up walking like 40 minutes to my job. Right.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was stupid. Like I was literally taking like 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to get back, like every day. And it was because I needed that walk. My mental was not in a good place, and I needed that walk and that just alone time to like really like understand who I am. What is my life? What is my purpose in life? Like, what am I even doing here? I still didn't figure it out until I met her. And then we had a baby. 3 months. I told you the story. I was like, super.
Very fast, right?
Yeah, 3 months in, I was like, "Who is this girl?" She's like, "I'm pregnant." I was like, "Who's
3
the
months
dad?"
after meeting each other.
Yeah, just after like
Like-
saying what's up. So
Yeah.
super crazy, but
But it's your life.
yeah, changed
own
my
it, own
change-
it.
Yeah, I
changed
love
my
it.
life,
Yeah.
and
No, I do.
oh my god, I wouldn't change it for the world.
No.
Wouldn't change it for the
Oh,
world.
well, look at you now. Look how much you're building.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where you fall in love a little bit more, and you learn yourselves more, right? Because you're going to see her in different spaces. The same, your wife.
Oh.
You're going to see her developing in different areas
yeah.
within
It's not
the
like
business.
she's home like doing
You don't just see
mom
her as
stuff.
a wife,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You see her also and respect her. And I feel like that's where the respect grows even more, because I feel like love and respect are hand in hand. But when you see her in all these different spaces, interacting with different clients, I feel like you value each other more, right? And you see the essence of like who she is, not just the mother of your kids and your wife. She's also Samantha.
yeah. Which
And,
does
like-
that help your identity, like working here and like not being just tied to the girls and now like you're tied to Goose?
I don't know. I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I think because right now the girls are so young that like the baby's 1 year old, right?
God,
Like
baby.
yeah, the baby is 1
Like
year
just
old.
learned how to walk not too long
Oh
ago.
my God, so
Yeah.
precious.
So for me, it's like I don't feel like I'm fully part of like Goose or anything like that because mom is still my number one role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so because I have to worry about picking her up or taking her here, making sure they're getting.
When does it end? At 18?
No, never end.
Never.
Never.
That I'm still trying to figure out like how to adjust myself,
Had a mom.
not how to mom, but how to Sam, right? I
Yeah.
think that's like what I'm trying to figure out. It's like how to Sam, like how to go after exactly what I want to go after, and making sure that it's in a way that it makes me happy and it makes the girls proud. Yeah. I love that we started this because like I've always been a really big believer of following your dreams or like following your passions and being able to like give back. And so when Mike came to me and he was like, like I really feel like I need to pursue I need to pursue this career. Because when
That's
we,
kind of like what started everything.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what started it. It was like, he's like, I feel like this is
I have a
like,
family now. I gotta be the
Yeah.
support system. I don't know how I'm gonna fucking do this.
he was still working at a restaurant when we met.
Yeah.
What was I doing? It
Same
was
thing.
COVID.
Yeah, you were at what's it called? You were a waitress, cocktail waitress.
I was a cocktail waitress. And I was only doing that because it was COVID. It was like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They were like one of the only places that was still like open. Because I went to Rutgers. I wanted to do the whole corporate life. I wanted to go into the supply chain and all of that. I did a couple like works there, but I was like, I love people. Like I hated the idea of being stuck behind a desk. And so I was like, I saw that opportunity. Like this is fun. Like life was great. Like I just wanted to dance. I just want to be around music.
She was one of those free spirits.
Yeah,
That close her eyes
like,
and gets
literally
lost on the
all of
dance
that.
floor.
And
It's the
then-
best. Oh
Is
my!
it?
Don't
I don't
say
know what that
I
is.
dance.
Yeah.
When
I
I
don't know
tell
what that
people,
is.
I'm like, I love to dance. Don't
You?
tell me. I love to dance.
I love to dance.
Oh my goodness, I'll be voguing and everything, dancing. Last
It's
week,
so much fun.
I don't mean to cut you off,
Yeah, keep
Samantha, but
going.
last week I went to a bar and
Started voguing for no reason.
not only voguing, but I told everyone it was my birthday. At first, it was a joke until by the time
They
we
brought
left.
you the cake.
No, when I'm leaving, we were the last ones to leave. I had the whole parking lot singing "Happy Birthday" to me, and I'm like, "Shit, I took this too far." But now I'm.
It's my birthday, girl.
No, I love that.
Yes.
Yes, like
That's
I
funny.
get energized by like
People.
people. Oh my god. And we're so opposites when it comes to that. Like he's like energized by himself.
Myself. I like the walks by myself, seclusion. Helps me
Like
think.
his favorite thing to do is like he'll grab candles and he'll go to the bathroom.
Oh, that's my
and,
safe
like,
space.
Read and,
And
like
relax.
And just- yeah.
relax, which is awesome, right? But that's how he'll come back from that like total spa day, right?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
put the face mask on.
Oh, you
Yeah.
need to go to King Spa.
What's that?
It's so
No,
good.
have
I've
you
been
ever seen
there.
Bathhouse in New York?
No, wait, in Manhattan,
There's
right?
two. Yeah, there's one by Flatiron, and then there's another one in.
It's in Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn.
Yeah.
No, I think I went to one. Oh,
There's a couple, not just
It's-
two. There's a couple
two-
of
no,
bathhouses.
there's just two bathhouses.
No, I think there's 4.
I don't think so. On the website,
I
it was
went
just
to
two.
one. I forgot where
so
it was
nice.
because I drank so much, and I'm like, yeah, let's go to bathhouse. I'll detox.
Yeah.
Duh. So
It's like, yeah.
let me tell you, I left the bathhouse and it's like 7 a.m. I'm like, what the hell did I just do? Because I went and I knocked out in one of their salt rooms. I woke up like dehydrated, but I was detoxing. I felt way better.
Oh my god! I'm surprised no one like came like knocking like, yo, are you okay?
You know what?
Because it's like
I
24
I
hours.
felt her like checking in on me here and there, but let me tell
Yeah,
you,
like, yo,
I
this lady's
walked
knocked
out.
out.
My lips were probably purple at that point. But
She's like, water. Can I get some water?
They're probably checking to see if you're still alive.
looking like Beetlejuice. Let me tell you. It was the best thing though, because I felt I went about my day. I
Yeah?
didn't lose a day because as you get older,
I was out
yes,
for 2 days. Okay,
yeah,
so we
it's
went
not the same.
We went
for
drinking.
3 days.
All right.
No,
Listen,
he was like,
We got invited from one of my clients. He was like, "Yo, I got a concert. Do you want to come?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure." And I don't drink, right? Like my thing, like when back in the day, I used to smoke. I was never a drinker. I drink I drink wine and cheese. I love that.
Oh yeah.
I
Wine
love
and
that.
charcuterie boards.
Oh my
I
goodness,
feel
I love
Put my
charcuterie boards.
pinky out.
And the fact that I can say
He does
charcuterie,
that.
let's say it
Yes,
again.
charcuterie.
Charcuterie.
charcuterie. Yeah. No, it's
It
great.
automatically makes you fancy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I love that, right?
Those are our date nights. He'll literally come home from like Trader
We'll go to
Joe's or
Target, then
whatever.
Trader Joe's,
And
then
then
IKEA, and then we'll end the date.
my favorite.
We'll end the date with
So
a nice
good.
glass of wine. But
Yeah.
no, we go to this concert and this dude is great, dude. I love this guy. He's a developer, right? And he's like, "Yo, I got this bottle of Johnny Walker." Like, what
We
am
just
I?
met him, by the way.
Yeah,
Like,
just met him. Like,
Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
I think I like took his seat on accident. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's my seat." I was like, "I'm sorry." He's like, "Dude, I got a bottle of Johnny Walker. What do I do with this?" I was like, "Drink it, dude. I don't know. What do you want to do with it?"
You want to share?
Yeah,
Then say that.
Yeah. So he was, yeah, here, grab a cup. I was like, okay, cool.
Oh,
and I'm like
God.
babysitting my drink, right? Because I don't drink, so I'm
Oh,
babysitting
man.
it. He's like, bro,
he's like, I'm on my.
what are you doing? He's like, yeah, I'm on my third one. What are you doing? I was like, I'm chilling. What do you mean? He's like, this guy. I was like, oh, what, this guy? Okay, let's go. And then I drink
No.
it, right? And then next thing we know, dude, we're like 6, 7, 8, 9 shots in. and they're not shots. Like he's fucking pouring cups, and like
Yeah, he's trying to finish his Johnny Walker.
apparently there was 2 bottles.
He finished.
I didn't know.
And it was just the 2 of them. Well, me too, because
You had one, and I think maybe
he
one
was
other person,
serving
but
me a
like
couple
he
things, but
drank
he-
most of
yeah.
it. I know for a fact he drank most of it, but I was shocked. I was just
Between
blitzed out
the
of my
2
mind.
of them, me
Jesus
a little
Christ.
cups of
And then I
that,
was like,
yeah.
dude, I was like, because like I think after my 6th shot
It was
is my
shots,
point of no
cups.
return.
Ooh, for
You know
me,
what I
it's
mean?
like 3 shots and that's it.
Really? After that, you do like
No, after that,
tastes
I'm
like
not taking anymore.
Really? No. So with me, after the 6th one, is like I can drink the whole bottle,
Oh yeah, after the third
And
shot,
knock
but it's
out.
just a
and
train
then it's a
wreck.
blackout. Yeah.
100%.
So I was a mess, and then I woke up the next morning, and I'm just like, oh. And I'm like, okay, this is probably gonna last like 6 hours. I know my body. I'll be fine by like 4 o'clock.
Mind you, I'm up. It's 8 o'clock in the
She's
morning.
getting
The
work, and
girls
she's
are up.
sweeping. The girls like doing
I
stuff.
have to like, all of this stuff. And I did drink too, but it wasn't like
I'm like this in the
He's like,
bed.
"Oh,
Let me tell you, the
2
best thing
days.
to do is go to a bathhouse after because
Just
you
knock
detox.
out
Make
until
sure you
7
drink
in the
water.
morning.
Yeah, make sure you drink water from time to time. But I was so refreshed. I didn't skip a beat. I was like, what? I'm going to sauna after I drink every time.
Yeah?
I don't drink. I don't really.
I don't like drinking.
Yeah, I don't really have
Yeah.
vices because I'm so busy. But at the same time, it's like if you are going
the best thing.
Korean barbecue,
hack.
Ooh.
and then
Do
I'm
you do
going.
karaoke at the Korean barbecue?
No, I didn't do it that time, but I
I
love
love
karaoke.
Okay.
karaoke.
Oh my goodness.
It's so much fun.
So much
Anything.
fun.
I love how to. I love my daughter's the singer, but I love to sing and I love to dance. I'm not saying I'm good at it. I just love it.
Love
just
it.
love
I
it.
just love it.
Enjoy it. Yeah.
That is
I
it.
really, yes, I really do.
Yeah.
I love that.
No, he didn't believe me when I said it's like, no, I just love dancing. Like he's like,
It's
"For what?"
fun.
I get lost in the middle of it. And
I
you're
guess.
just like,
I don't like people. I don't like interactions. I don't like public spaces.
that's
Oh
not
my
true that he
goodness.
doesn't like people. He does.
I like people on an individual basis.
Yeah.
But like a
Okay.
One
group
by
of
one.
people like at the same time and I don't know any of them. Why am I here? I don't want to be here. Unless it's
That
like a
causes it.
purpose.
That causes me like
Anxiety.
The networking events. I'm like, oh man, I have to really like prep myself. Like I was listening to Never Scared by
I ain't never scared.
yeah.
I ain't never. The song? You talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I have to pump myself up to
Who-
go
who
into
is
public
that?
settings.
That's,
That's Big Mike, but oh,
yeah, Big Mike
goodness.
and
the
it starts
main
with a
one.
T, yeah, I think, right? I ain't know.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's probably still in my playlist. I'm not even lying.
Really?
Yes, it is. Bone Crusher.
Bone Crusher. Yes.
I don't. It's
never
a
heard this
little
song?
nerve wracking. No, like that you have to pump yourself up and like
For like the network setting?
jitters.
Yes,
Yeah.
the
Do you
net-
do them all the often?
I'm doing them more now that I'm
And
diving
do you
into
feel like you're
full-time.
getting used to it? Like there kind of is like a you
How
shake
long
the
were you
rust off.
part-time realtor?
Less than a year.
Less than a
Yeah.
year.
Wait, you're
Less than a-
part time?
I was part
She
time.
was.
No,
Now
not
she's
you're
making-
full time.
now
now
I'm
she's
Yeah,
full-time.
yeah. Okay.
And yeah. So it was just, it was, I felt like sometimes you got to take a deep breath, decide, and just keep going. Because I'm like, why not? And I even spoke to my daughter about it. And she's like, Mom, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And when she said it, I was like, yeah, I'll be fine.
So you officially became full-time when, like now or
Last week.
Oh,
Yeah,
like-
beginning of July.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, you were part time last time we spoke?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
So it was more, my mindset was more of like work and, you know, working in the veteran space and the politics, the fun politics that come with it. But now it's, I like working with people. I do get, because you're working with them a little bit more personal. Like yesterday, not yet, 2 days ago, I went to a listing appointment and, you know, I'm there and the lady's outside with her boyfriend. An older lady, is super funny. And I get there and she's like, well, I have a lot of realtors and I like to wait for them outside because I decide as soon I look at them walk in and I decide if I even want to interview
Ooh,
them.
I like
That's
that.
so smart.
And I'm like, luckily I'm not here picking a wedgie or anything, you know?
Wait,
Because she could see me, but I couldn't see her where I parked. So I'm like, thank goodness I'm not here like cursing up a storm.
Yeah.
And you know, from that practice in corporate setting, your interview starts in the parking lot. Your interview starts when you're a mile away from the job. And that's something that stuck with me. And I'm glad it did because look, She invited me to her house. I had coffee. She showed me the other part of her basement that's completely closed out, but she unlocked it with her boyfriend for me. So that was you never know. That's the cool thing about people is like you learn what they like, what they're afraid of, because when you find out what they're afraid of, I feel like that's when the work really goes in. Like, okay, how can I make this transaction as smooth as possible for this client based on what they're so nervous about. A lot of the nervousness comes from a lack of education. They don't
You're
know.
the second person that said that to me today.
The lack of education?
Most fear comes, or like indecision comes from, I mean, and I've heard it actually now that I'm saying it, but like you're the second person to say it today, is lack of education dictates whether they proceed or not in terms of like sales.
Yeah, 100%. What I'm going to go, I've been in sales my whole life. Let it be in Foot Locker, let it be in waitressing. I've always been interacting with people. And there are times that I know I'm gonna go into the store and buy a product, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like, let's see their
wanna
sales
see-
pitch.
yeah.
Really? I
Convince me.
hate that.
I do
I
that
hate
all the
talking to people.
time.
Convince me. I'm like, let me see what you got, because maybe I can learn.
I was just telling him, I was like, I want, like, we have something going on. I was like, I want to be sold to, and he's like, but why? I was like, because I want to see.
yeah,
how
so
they're
convince
gonna-
me.
This is my I like soft sales, right?
Okay.
Soft sales in the sense of like, Gloria, what's the biggest frustration you have right now in terms of like your marketing?
Consistency.
Okay, well, this is what you can do. This, and this to be more consistent, right? Go do it.
So that's your logical approach. You're not like looking at everything else. Like, why are you being inconsistent? Why do you feel like you can't create content? Like, you need to ask those questions. Like, she wants a product, right? You have more of the logical approach.
Yeah. She's more emotional.
I want to...
Because there's three types of
Part of it-
conversations, right? There's the status. There's like, I drive a Lexus, so I'm this type of a person.
Okay.
There's the emotional. It's like, I love Lexuses. That's why I drive a Lexus, right?
Okay.
And then there's a logical. It's like, well, Lexus is the best car because of the statistics, right? So the three types, I think I'm logical and she's emotional. But if you have another type of conversation, I'm curious.
No, I like to be sold to, because if I'm going to invest my money in it, I at least want you to be knowledgeable about the product that you're selling, despite me having knowledge on the product or not. Because I may think you have to go with an empty cup. You may have researched it and everything, but give that person the opportunity to teach you. That's something that actually one of my, sometimes I would participate and let my daughter kick my butt in her martial arts classes. And one of the instructors, oh yeah.
I just got a mental
Horrible,
picture of her
horrible.
just
She
like
kicked-
drop kicking you.
Oh my, she did it once, and maybe more than once. And one time, one of the instructors there, he said, "You have when you come in here, you could be the most trained and everything, but when you come in here, empty your cup. That way, you can allow me to teach you something new or teach you a new technique." And I'm like, oh, okay. So I have a lot of those like little things that change your perspective. That's what sticks to me till this day.
Okay, just because like I'm like fixated on this subject, so can we like role play a little bit? So
On what?
On the sale.
Okay,
right? On the
okay.
soft sale. So I'm like, hey Gloria, these are the things you can do. If you just do these things, you'll be more consistent in making content.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I can do it every morning. Sometimes I get lazy and I know I want it to be done. So how can I do that?
Well, then you'd have to. The other option is paying for it.
Yeah, I can pay for it, but are you going to create it all the time, even when I don't want to?
Yeah.
But I want to be part of it, Like how do I become like part of it, involved in it?
I think, and then in terms, and not to like
But
break
that's
character.
more feeling. It's more about the feeling.
You always have to bring
It's
in
the
feeling.
because I'm what I'm answering. I'm just answering what I feel. It's not really the logic behind it, because the logic behind it is follow your expertise.
That's the thing.
But people don't make decisions based on logic.
No,
Not
I
all
know.
the time.
Not all the time.
Sometimes, yeah.
Look at us
Sometimes,
women.
but it's
and-
more. But it's
No, but
more
that's a real
Yeah.
thing. Like if I want a Tesla, it's because I'm emotionally attached to Tesla. It's not because there's logic behind it at all.
No, how you make them feel. Like if I'm you could be the most,
So what emotion were you looking for me to answer to make you feel heard?
a little bit more nurturing of my not insecurity, of my
How do I do that without being like
my
ñoñando?
inconsistent, because when someone's consistent, not inconsistent, you're attacking their character in a way, you know?
What do you mean?
Because they're not being disciplined.
Yeah.
And that's a character trait.
So that's
Yeah.
Also,
personal.
if I like highlight the fact of, well, you're just not being consistent, that hurts my
that
feelings.
hurt, you just hurt my
Yeah.
feelings. Not like for real,
I know,
but
I know.
but the general
Yeah.
public, yeah, you're gonna hurt their feelings because, like she
Whether
said,
it's
that's a character trait. That's
subconsciously,
something personal.
So how would you approach it what were the things that you were saying? Like you want
I want to be part of it, but I'm inconsistent, and I'm not. You know, there are some days that I just don't want to do any work. Like, what do I do?
And then okay, so do I actually? Sorry, I haven't.
I mean, but like,
I would say, okay, what have you tried?
You see, now you're
she's asking your question.
yeah. Now she's digging deep, asking what have I already done? Is it just me being lazy, or have I already tried, and that's why I feel like this? And then the next question, a good follow up would be like, okay, but why have you tried these methods? You think that they worked? And then really understanding the client's mind of why they operate that way, and maybe it may not even be inconsistent. It may not even be consistency. It may be something completely different.
It could be insecurities too. It could be.
So what if I come to the conclusion I was like, she's just lazy?
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't do enough work.
So I need to keep. Okay, so like, how do you feel nurtured? Do you feel nurtured just by her asking the question?
And it's also her tone of voice.
Yes, there's a huge difference.
So I have to be softer.
You can.
Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot. That's why
yeah.
Teaching your kids emotionally to be emotionally intelligent individuals and being self-aware, oh my, they're going to get farther. They're going to have a leg up because you start understanding. In sales, when my regional manager took, he was very fond of me because I stayed part-time, but I was their top seller. And I would
that's
work in the city. I would
amazing.
work here because I'm studying biology. I'm like sales. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know, whatever. And I love sneakers. So, but he's like, when you talk to someone, make sure you're truly engaged, because some people you have to make them feel. Sometimes you have to make them see it. Sometimes you have to make them understand it. And that was true. I had customers that would only shop with me. Mind you, it's athletic wear, right? Only shop with me because I'm like, they would want me to pick their clothes. Oh, look at this combo with the new sneakers that came out. Hey, look at this, look at this. But they're spending over $500, so that's great for me, right? So understanding what approach you need to give that individual, because sometimes, oh, here, you know what? Touch the product versus like, oh, this is how it works. Like for me, I need to be immersed in the situation. Like I need to be doing it and seeing it in order for it to truly learn it and process it. Versus sometimes, like my daughter can listen to something and she'll get it. And I'm like, I just, you lost me after the first 2 seconds, So I think having that approach is where you,
Sometimes
it's like really being engaged and not just going on the logic and the knowledge behind them, because that's, a lot of people don't make decisions out of how they feel. I've seen it.
Logic. They don't. Yeah, a lot of it is through feelings. Yeah.
Oh, I really like their personality and their resume matches. Let's bring them on board. And I'm like, what? I'm like, can we at least do a second? Can we get some references? And that's me being logical. So I've seen it, and I'm just like, wow. I wish I learned a little bit more, paid attention to of whoever's interviewing me. That way I can, maneuver a little bit better to get hired.
Yeah, a lot of it is like having like that connection points. It's like people will remember you more or like you more depending on like how you made them feel.
People will always remember how you make them feel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what you say, it's how you say it.
I feel like we have a
Yeah.
good conversation when we're just talking, right? I would feel weird trying to sell you. Does that make sense?
Well, I think it's because you already know that I'm a pretty logical person versus if you just met me. I think that's maybe it.
Like, I feel like I'm way more comfortable having like a conversation with you as like a regular person talking about our emotions, because this whole conversation, it's been fairly emotional. Like, there's been
Oh,
emotions in it,
absolutely.
right? But now, when it comes to sales, I don't know how to translate the real talk into the sales talk with that type of emotion, or like understanding of your emotion, if that makes sense. Or understanding that you asking or saying what you were saying was actually looking for nurturing.
Yeah, I
Like, that
want to
didn't
make sure.
equate in my head. It was like, oh, she just doesn't get it. Let me explain it again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think not focusing so much on the product and
Yeah.
and understanding that every approach is going to be different. Not everyone is going to accept the logical, or sometimes people are just, they know what you're selling them. They just want to know if they feel comfortable with you. Especially people that have the extra income. To, someone will come in already wanting to hire you, right? They made their decision, but now they're just testing to see if they even feel comfortable around, if they like your vibe.
I feel like I could pass the vibe check though with a fairly good amount of people. It's just when the sales conversation comes to play that I get a little awkward.
Really?
think
Practice
so.
it more.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
doing. Yeah,
you
yeah.
just have to practice it more.
Thinking about like doing a lot of cold calls and stuff, but I think they're gross.
Oh, I hate them. I hate them, but they're so
I found out
necessary.
that there's like a dialer now, and like skip tracing is a thing. I
Oh
had
my
no idea.
goodness,
I don't know what
yes.
this. I don't know this stuff.
There's a dialer. Some of the
It's like
lenders even
Mojo. Algo así.
Mojo's okay. A lot of people are using they're
don't know how
using
to
that,
do
but
it.
also doing automated calls of letting them know about your business and outsourcing it.
Wait, what?
Outsourcing their calls to like, hey, this is so and so's assistant.
Oh,
And I'm,
the
yeah, like
VA
the
stuff. Yeah, 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 yeah.
and
yeah.
it's like sometimes when I spoke to a past client and they were not having it.
What do you mean?
They just
Oh,
hated
with the
that.
fake
They
calls?
hated that. They were like,
I'm
and
with
they knew
them. I hate that too.
and they knew the realtor. They just didn't like that approach at all.
It puts a bad taste in their mouth of the realtor themselves, and they're like, I don't even know if I want to work with this guy.
Yeah, and it's, for me, it would be like, oh, great. It's like an extra a touch point to make sure that you
it's
don't
not.
miss out.
But it's your brand.
The client told me, they were like, and I know this person, and I'm like, I felt like they were just they didn't treat me like if I was, if they knew me.
I'm
And
just
like,
a number.
yeah, and I'm like, meanwhile, the realtor's probably thinking, you know what, make sure I don't forget about this person.
Yeah.
But the way they were receiving the
Got
message
lost in translation.
was completely different. So it's interesting. And the only way you'll know, start doing surveys if you haven't done them already.
Surveys I do, but like, what am I gonna do? Like, I do them on Instagram, and I don't know how else to do. How else am I gonna do a survey?
Create a Survey Monkey
A
generic
survey
code.
monkey.
Yeah.
Survey Monkey, literally, that's what it is.
That's what
It's
it's
a
called.
platform to
Yeah.
do surveys, right?
Okay.
Or Google Forms, and then tally up what people want to do, what they don't like, what they have said, and every year you have to do a strategic
No
meeting.
entiendo. What do they get? They get I send it to their email. Like, what does that
I
mean?
wouldn't have them do it after your session to guarantee that they're doing the survey.
Oh, so like actually do it to every single person individually.
100%. So like, let's say you'll have your barcode here, your QR code. Let them scan. Hey, before you leave, like a similar to a Google review, but instead, hey, fill out the survey for me to let me know how you did. Make it very
People do
basic.
that to me all the time. Yeah. I hate
But
that.
it's just collecting that data to see
It's
what,
so important.
yeah, and to identify what they like the age group, what's the main topic that someone is focusing. Maybe you can do a networking event revolved around that subject because it's so common. You already have the data that supports that so many people want to talk about this. So it's
smart.
just data. I like data.
Yeah.
We're thinking of hosting a networking event here. Did we told you?
I think I saw it on your story.
No, we didn't even
No?
post it yet.
No, not
No,
yet.
this is new. This is a
We're
new
gonna
idea.
post. This is very new. We're gonna
What?
have a
So I don't know where I
networking
saw it.
thing.
We didn't post it. It's not ours.
No?
You saw somebody else's networking event. Everybody and their mom
Yeah,
does
everybody's
networking
doing
events.
a networking event.
We want
But we want to
have-
do it a little bit
yeah.
differently. You could explain it.
So like, I
Oh
mean,
my God, this is fresh news. Like jump set.
so new. We haven't even picked a date yet. But so there's two things. I want to do a workshop and I want to have a networking event. And so the workshop that I was thinking was like literally content creation strategy, where every single person needs to walk out of here with like 10 to 20 like
Oh,
scripted
wow.
ideas, right? And so then he brought
And
it.
some already filmed and edited like
Yeah.
before you leave.
So it's kind of like a speed dating round, but it's like
for
a
content.
speed content round.
Yeah.
So cool.
So, but that's a workshop, and so obviously
Don't
it's
make
gonna
sure you
take a
don't air
couple
this so no one can
hours.
take your idea.
But okay, so that's another
But
thing.
even if they take your idea, they won't be able to deliver it the same way.
This is the way I've came to the conclusion of it's
Yeah.
like if you're working with me and everything else is the same, you're working with me because you like working with me. And so
Right.
where someone can take the exact same idea, same delivery and do it and they make money off of it, like good for them, right?
You know, I think that's me. Like, whenever someone is excited about a new idea or a dream or something, one, I automatically think NDA. Two, it's about the feeling. I don't want anyone to like put in that doubt or that negativity before it even
yeah.
comes to fruition.
What do you mean?
You know, when you come
Como
up
el
with a
ojo?
good idea, or you're telling
Oh,
someone
and someone shoots it down. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
that's not a
like,
good idea.
Ah,
before, do it first and then.
And
That's
then
why I was
talk
like, don't
about it.
release it, don't share.
Ah.
I pride myself in being one of those individuals that I'm an enabler, especially when it comes to doing something that you love. I'm like, go for it.
But I
The
feel like
majority of people are, and not even, and subconsciously, they'll be like, oh, you sure you want to do that? And this and that. And that alone, that type of reaction when you tell someone something so personal, that could dim your light to the point that
yeah.
you won't even want to work. And that's what
no,
you
a
have
lot
to
of people do though. They get like
keep
don't get my
people like
light
that away
dimmed.
from your children.
oh yeah, 100%.
Oh, man, I'm so.
No, I'm like the source of light for my children. Like there's no, well, God is, but like I'm like a
No,
reflection of
yeah,
that.
100%. Keep people like that. Whenever they have comments like that, either check them, not to do it again, because
Yeah, no, 100%.
you do not. Imagine a little kid coming in with so much spunk and, like, that's
Someone
what I
just
want to
kills
do.
it right there.
And you're probably stressed out. Just an example. Someone's stressed out. I know. I get that away from me. That alone, you don't know what you've done to that kid. And that's what I'm like, keep them away from your children.
Yeah, or even ourselves, checking ourselves.
I get
'cause-
so defensive when it comes to that.
Yeah, because I remember sometimes like I'll be so stressed out with work stuff, and she comes up to me like, "Bobby." I was like, I can't right now. I'm sorry, like I can't right now."
Yeah.
And then I feel terrible, but I always try to make sure to like make up for it and like look her in the eye and be like, "Look, I love you. Like let's do this now. Now that we have the time, So I always try to like fill her cup back up again because like if I take out that light, I feel terrible.
No, that's like you crushed your dream.
Yeah.
Because imagine they look at you like they're idol. So when they're coming with a new idea, it could be the silliest idea. It's just new to them. And
Yeah.
understanding that kids and just young adults, everything's new to them. So when other older adults get frustrated with them, it's unfair a little bit because it's like they've never experienced it. Give them that knowledge because I feel like there's stages in your life. First, you learn, it's an ongoing process, but at a certain stage in your life, you can be a mentor. You can be that, that stepping stone for an individual. So why not be it? And if you're not going to be that,
Get out.
get out.
Mm-hmm.
That is not going to serve you any purpose. And it just came back to mind because I wanted to share something with you, Sam, that, when you're still learning how to Sam,
Yeah.
when it comes to that should be a thing. Learning how to Sam with Sam.
She's trying to build an Instagram, so it's not bad. Honestly, help me find my identity.
Yeah,
It's not
I'm like,
bad.
come on board. What do you think about this?
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
I actually love this idea.
No, but surround yourself with people that truly want to see you win.
I was gonna say because I could see that turn really bad, really fast as well.
100%. They're like, oh my God, but your kids, oh my God. All these
Yeah,
excuses that people want. And it's like, why? You're either going to support someone with what they want to do. Like for me, when I see someone, when their face lights up, remember when I was talking about voiceovers?
I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah, hold on. And then, so when you see that light, I feel like it's a gift. When someone is able to share that with me, I'm like, oh man, you shared that with me. That's so cool. Like I get emotional because I'm like, that's something. It's like, hey, this is my potential new baby. You want to see it, right?
Yeah.
So it's you want to see it. You want to nourish it with me and watch it grow.
Yeah.
That's technically what you're doing with your dream, right?
Yeah.
Surround yourself with people that want to help you. I know This is just the beginning. Let me tell you. When it comes to my references,
No,
I
it's
have like
perfect.
the horrible
love
sometimes.
it.
I blame my daughter with her chicken grease
The
cup.
chicken
Like
grease.
I blame her with her examples, but
Yeah.
definitely, especially with you having two little girls, as soon as you get some weird like judgmental or envious feeling, don't ignore that. Do not ignore that, because you never know what that doubt could reflect on your kid, and it's just
Not needed.
it's not needed. I wish someone told me that sooner, because sometimes I would, since I grew up young, I was very mature. I was living the life of like a 40-year-old at 18, 16, right? Working, paying bills, like really early. And sometimes I would be around people that just, it would make me feel like, oh, I'm young. I'm still like, I'm still doing fun stuff. But in reality, they were serving me they weren't aligned with what I wanted to do in my life and what I had to do with my life.
I see.
So
Okay.
it just didn't serve me any purpose. So that's why understanding who you really are is important, because if it doesn't align with what you want to do, it's just a distraction.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they cut distractions out.
I love that. So
yes.
I'm gonna.
Back to the subject.
Yeah. No. Well, back to full circle. We did speak. I don't think Sam knows about this, but
I do, probably don't.
she is a is it fair to say closet voiceover artist?
Yes. So I practice a lot. My resume, I usually put that I practice being different characters for my daughter. I dressed up a lot with
It's actually
her.
a great resume piece. I love that.
But I want to be the voice of like a cartoon. Like the movie Inside Out was like
Oh my God, did you see 2?
not yet.
Oh my God, we just
Not
saw it
yet.
like not even a week ago.
How
So
was it?
good. Oh, so
So
good.
good?
I cried.
my
I
God.
wanted to cry, but there was everybody's next to me. I was trying to hold it in. I was like,
Nobody's
dude.
Oh no,
Let's
do
I
one
am
of those.
crying. I am
Yeah.
letting it out. After suppressing my emotions for so many years, I am like just a wonderful razzle dazzle bag of emotions.
I cried.
Yeah, I know. I cried. But just the reason I cried was because like I saw like in the movie, it's like she's older now, right? So it's her going through puberty and having to deal with all of this new
Yes.
emotion. And I'm like, this is like how my baby thinks, and this is like what she's gonna be going through. And like that just like sent me.
It's tough.
I
It's
was like,
tough.
oh my God. But I gave you homework last time I saw you.
So one of the reasons I decided to go full time in real estate was because I wanted to pursue also who I really was and what I wanted to do. And working on my branding and and what I want to provide, because there's strength and vulnerability, right? And when
To an extent, I think.
yeah.
No,
Like I'm not going to record myself crying and put it out there. Like that's
Well,
just
unless
not
it's part of the character.
not my character, like unless I'm doing a voiceover.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
as far as
talking
like branding, like that's
yeah,
just
yeah.
not my like with people can do it. That's fine. That's not how I want to spread my message. So my branding has become difficult for me because when I think about single mothers, I think about strong women. I don't think about like, oh my God, I'm crying. Oh my God, I'm so stressed. Okay, yeah, that's part. Duh, you're doing it by yourself. But that's just my attitude, right? And that's how can I portray it in a way that you're going to find strength, but you're also going to get a little bit of my personality. You might not like it, but that's my approach. Right?
You made me think of like motherhood boot camp is what you're gonna
Right?
do.
That's
Honestly,
what I should put.
Like a general.
You got 21 days with me. 21 days. So it takes 21 days to break your bad habit. Your kid's not listening and they're only 3, get out of here. Unless they have some type of, disability,
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. I don't. But like, am I ready to say that to the world? That's what I'm.
No,
I think
kinda
finally,
love that.
I feel like real estate has been a door for me to.
I don't see you as a realtor. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't see you. I see you as so much. I mean, granted, I can see. Yeah, I see you as
I
so
think
much
real
more
estate has been a door
open. Yes, yes.
to. It has opened. Yeah, it has opened the door of who's Gloria. What do you want to know? Because I enjoy working with people. I take it. I'm so happy when I see people really accomplish their goals and then making so much money. Oh my, because money gives. I like talking about money because money gives you access. Money gives you the opportunity to give the life to your child that you probably couldn't.
You can buy your time back.
Hell
Enjoy that
yeah.
time with your kids.
Whoever disagrees, they're not in tune with reality, or they are scared about talking about finances, and they're not ready to talk about the wrong decisions that they're making when it came to their finances, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But how are you going to know if you don't start talking about it?
No, I literally saw motherhood boot camp and like kind of like a life coach and you know what I'm saying?
Don't laugh. I have my life coaching certification.
Have you
From
used
Fowler.
it? Have you been promoting it?
No, I haven't even told anyone. It's just on my resume.
I'm signing up.
No, but like if you
Where do I
honestly,
sign up?
You know what it is?
First
Is that
client.
I'm good. I'm better at, and I should, because I'm better at helping others than helping myself. But that's how I've found my strength.
Yeah.
I've found my strength in helping others. And learning about myself. That's why I'm here. And that's why I feel like I'm such a strong and confident individual, because I've been able to pull people out from, those difficult situations. Let it be teenagers, let it be homeless veterans, it's a range. I've been fortunate to work with different
Types of
groups,
people,
and
yeah.
different ages. So that's where I found my strength. But at the same time, I don't believe in excuses. Like, you want to be better, then be better.
That's it. I agree. I've been subscribed to Nike for so long.
Yes, and
Just
just do it.
Just do it. Just fucking do it.
What do you mean no?
Oh, you want to do this? You want to do this? Fucking do it. That's it.
What is it like? What's his name? Shia LaBeouf?
What do you say?
When he's going crazy,
when he's like, "This is what you wanted."
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, you really have to be aggressive with your
Yeah.
dreams and be very I don't want to use the word selfish. I would say very unapologetic and learn to pivot.
No, how we both sit.
Yeah, learn to pivot when something doesn't go your way. Actually take it as like a learning experience versus, I feel like in life you want to separate your ego as much as possible from who you are. Because ego is not who a
It's the
person,
death of your
individual.
growth. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, we could go through a whole our
So why
philosophy
haven't you
track
done it yet?
when it comes to life coaching, because
Yeah.
I felt like I wasn't where I wanted to be. And me relying.
Is that an excuse?
No, that's why I felt like, all right,
Oh, you didn't
I'm
have
going
the freedom. You're saying
exactly.
Got it.
How am I going to, let's say you're trusting me with, hey, Gloria, I want to make this decision, or not even that, like with basic things, like I want to get back into my femininity. I want to start working out again, whatever, right? Because I was also a personal trainer when I came out of the survey.
Can you
I was
guys,
NASM certified.
get each other's numbers after this?
And let me tell
I
you,
was kidding when I said I'm signing up. Like,
and I would,
can I?
How much
I'm
would you charge for something like
Yeah.
this? Sorry,
for
not to
what,
cut you off.
a session?
A life coach.
I haven't thought about it, but I would say, I would say between like 60 to 100
per session.
per session.
And then what would a monthly thing look like?
I don't know. I would have to think about it.
Can you?
Think about
Yeah.
it. I think it's something.
Okay,
that
so this
people
is where
need,
my mind was going when you were talking about this. One, I love your voices, right? You have a great way of pulling emotion and drawing emotion when you go into like these characters and look at my dream.
My
It's, yeah, like that's funny. You know what I mean? Like, and you can't watch that and say like that's not funny. You know what I mean? And so we just need to capture more moments like that because that's you, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you're saying in it, but like just you exuding you is gonna attract the people naturally. And then we can also interlace it with things of like this is how I thought about it, right? Like Sam would sit behind the camera, you'll sit in front of the camera, and because if you think about it, you remember what we talked about? I say, who's the person you want to talk to? And you were like, well, I want to talk to, young
My
moms.
audience.
Yes.
Yes.
You were like, I want to talk to young moms. I don't really know what they're doing. And they have all these questions. And like, she's kind of like that demographic, right? So she has questions that she can ask you and then you can answer them honestly. And if you feel like that answer needs to be strict and to the point, that's how you deliver it. But if you feel like it's a more touchy subject, you need to introduce that comedic relief through your voices.
I do. Well, you were already sharing, and I don't mean to cut you off, but it's like part of the voiceover. It comes from the idea that comes from, I like making people laugh. I love comedy, and comedy was one of that's what helped me through coming out of the service, and then, PTSD and the anxiety and all that fun stuff, right? So
Real
my
fun.
bag of tricks. So humor,
Yeah.
it just released that unnecessary, that
pain.
tension. It really does. And it's like when you really go into detail about what you've been through, and I'm like, oh, it's like, I'm not gonna cry about my story. I'm going I'm like, find strength from it, because I'm still here. So what are you crying about? Unless you want to use my new box of tissues, go ahead. But what do you want to say? That's not going to help you with anything. Like, feel it. Oh, thank you. Oh,
It
yeah.
is good. Okay,
But
I will
that's
say the crying does have a release
Yeah.
factor to it, but all the time, every time,
No.
it's like
unacceptable.
no.
Don't like me. Unacceptable. I'm not here to be like, I'm here to produce results.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's what you should do, and do real estate on the side or something. But I think that's
You're
like
not the only person that has said that. Like more than 3.
your personality exudes.
It's like so much.
Yeah,
I can't even fit it in my body.
And like, what do you? And what do you like? And like, but like, what are you telling me to like? I don't know. Like,
Oh, as the excuse. So the reason I went full time in real estate for me, honestly, was an excuse for me to go full time, to actually to learn who I really am, because I don't know. I just have had so many experiences in life that experience is the best teacher. That when I talk with so
you
much.
have to watch Inside Out too. I'm so sorry.
yeah, go with your
Just-
daughter.
that
Find a day
literally
that you guys are
just-
both free. Go
Oh
watch
my
Inside
God.
Out too.
you don't know who you are, but you've had all these experiences. But that's who you are.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's
Yeah.
it's gonna say
Yeah.
it's
It really
gonna,
is.
There's a little joy running around in your head doing a bunch of stuff.
Oh my God, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I'm like, I would say discuss with joy. Like, oh, to do new things. Oh, okay, but I'm doing it. Smiling, but instead I'm like,
Oh, and what's his name? Anger or
oh, I like maybe blow up maybe every 5 minutes.
little bit?
Yeah. But that's like to release the
Yeah,
tension,
yeah.
nothing bad.
it's just like push up a button real quick, just get it out.
Ooh, okay, I'm done. It's a fire sign. What is it? Fire sign?
What are you?
What am I?
Scorpio?
No, I'm a Sagittarius. I'm
Is
on
that
the
fire? That's fire?
last day of Sagittarius.
Oh, nice.
So fire sign. So now I have to know your signs.
Oh, jeez, you're one of them?
Aquarius.
No,
Oh, okay.
no, I just like to be curious. I'm like,
Yeah.
There is some truth to
And
it,
what
though.
about you?
I'm Pisces,
okay.
I'm
my
very
God.
emotional.
My best friend from Florida is a Pisces.
and I grew up in Florida. Look at that. Oh my God.
Ah, Bessie.
You're the
But-
last day of Aries, you said?
No,
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
So what does
So
that
12,
mean?
21.
Is it the bull?
No, that's the centaur. Half,
That's a bull,
Tiffany is Sagittarius.
right? Oh,
half-
a centaur is half man, half bull.
yeah, half horse.
Half horse.
Yeah, the bull is Taurus.
Oh, okay.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bull's Taurus.
Got
I get
it.
along.
Tiffany Sagittarius.
I get along with a lot of Aquarius.
So are
I
you
just
like
do.
are you like a beast, but you're also like you have like human thoughts?
They get along with everyone.
I don't know what
I don't know.
Sagittarius
I
does.
like to think of myself as like, did you see the movie with Mario Brothers?
I started it, but I was with my baby and she got
Every
scared in
single
the
time we
opening
watch
scene.
it, she's
No.
just
She
like,
gets
I don't
scared
wanna
because it's
watch it.
Bowser coming in opening scene and she freaks out. So
Yeah.
we never
So
got
there's
to
a
watch
little
it.
star.
I know Mario. Like I played Mario.
Yeah, it's in the movie.
Okay.
There's a little trap star in a cage.
Yeah,
that's how
it's
you
in the game.
feel?
Yeah, that's how you play.
No, but in the character in the
Okay.
movie, just you need to when you
I
get a
gotta
chance to
see it.
see
I
it.
gotta see it.
That's me.
The trap star.
Is it like singing? Is it like
No, it just like it delivers like the most horrible news, but it's so happy delivering it. So it's like, hey guys, if you stay here for like another hour,
You're
we're
all
all
gonna
gonna die. Just enjoying life. It trapped in the cage, and I'm like, yeah, I can. That's definitely the one character that I like resonate with, because I'll be like, oh my God, yeah, I'm working out. Did you pay your rent? Not yet, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm like, let me get this workout in quick, and I'll laugh it off, and I'm like, I'm laughing because I'm like.
it's a nervous laugh.
Nervous
Yeah.
laugh.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay, because I feel as soon as you really put faith in yourself and truly believe, you know what, things are going to be okay. And knock on wood for this. There are
IKEA work.
times that I've thought I was going to starve or not have something for my daughter, and I'll get an abundance of something.
Amen.
Oh my goodness. I've always had an abundance of food to the point that I've always had to share. Mind you, I'm here thinking, I'm like, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? And I was too prideful. I'm not going to no shelter.
I'm the same way.
I'm like, what if they touch my kid? You know, like, ugh. That was always my thought. So, but I don't know what I would be working. Someone would be like, oh, we ordered too much pizza. Okay, we're having pizza. Oh, we ordered too much wraps. But it was never a time that I've been hungry. And that I'm like so thankful for that because I know so many people that have.
Yeah.
So yeah, not getting into, that's why I listen to comedy a lot. And I start laughing things off because I'm like, things, as tacky as it sounds, yeah, things can be worse. And at the moment, that's the last thing anyone wants to hear. Oh, things could be worse. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not that thing. This is the thing that I'm going through right now, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's true. I feel like when we start being so anxious is because I'm not sure if you're religious or not, but it's because you're putting all the pressure on yourself and you're not trusting God in the process. I think that's what happens when you're full with anxiety and stress. Yeah. You want to control the situation instead of surrendering to, God. Either God or whatever, a higher being.
We believe in God.
And believing that, things are going to be okay. Because that's what I'm like, woo. I was like, I know God has a son. And one thing I don't talk about a lot is my relationship with God. But I do have a strong relationship with God. And really? God has a strong sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And I definitely do. And I feel like, I'm like, God accounts to the stupid decisions I'm about to make. So I'll be fine. I think he's he put that into account. I'll be fine.
There's reserves for that.
Yeah.
Like, right.
He knows me.
Do you go to church?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
That's interesting.
I don't go to church. From time to time, like one of my friends recently, she did her testimony. She goes to a Christian church in Harlem.
Testimony?
Yeah, she did her testimony. She recently had open heart surgery.
Oh, and what God did for her.
Yeah, so she spoke about it, and so there are times that I'll go to church, to different events, more of like support events. But I feel that when I do like going to church because I feel like that's when my cup fills up and start again for Monday. But when I don't, it's just I read the passage. There's times that I'm like, let me see. And I'll like scan the Bible and I'm like, what's the message?
I love
what's
doing
the message
that.
today?
Yes, I love doing that.
Because
it always hits.
Yeah, I'm like, especially when you start feeling this anxiety inside. And I'm like, my family's here. I'm okay. I have my hand. When that happens, what has helped is paying attention to your present. I can feel. I have all my limbs, and just getting back to that basic appreciation of life. Then you're like, oh, I was freaking out a little bit. I was freaking out. I just lost it. Now I'm back. really back. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Huh.
So talk to yourself aloud.
I love talking to myself. I talk to myself out loud sometimes, and people are like, yo, who are you talking to? Like, don't worry about it.
I recently did something. I went to a broker meeting, and I started drinking. I wanted to finish my wine. I thought it was like more. I thought it was a little bit.
Because you see your cup half full, and so it just seemed like.
Let me tell you, I don't know what I saw that day. So I get home and I have my tripod on the table because I had I cleaned it up.
You were filming?
I filmed myself. Oh man, I haven't even looked at that film yet.
Why not?
Because I don't remember it. Okay, Two, I wonder what I said. But and maybe not the most appropriate, right? But I thought that I had like 1 cup of wine, but then it wasn't. It was like 2.5, almost a bottle. But I had to finish it, That was the mission. For some reason, I had to finish it. And yeah, I ended up recording. But I did it because I'm like, I need to start getting more comfortable in front of the camera. Yeah. I need to talk to the camera. And if I'm able to have, how the sales like throws you off, the sales pitch. Yeah. For me, as soon as the camera's in front of me, it just like
throws you off.
Throws me off.
A lot of people do that.
Yeah, so I'm like, practice. Like, how am I going to get better? So I started having that inner talk with myself with that long drive, and I recorded myself. I have yet to see it, but I will.
First
It's
steps. I love it.
repetition too. Like the more you're in front
Yeah,
of the
consistency.
camera.
What is it? Repetition is the mother of all skills, right?
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
it.
bars.
Yeah,
100%.
bars. I think Bruce Lee said, "I will never fear a man that has done 1,000 kicks once, but I will always fear the man that has done one kick 1,000 times."
Yeah, because you have a chance to perfect it, or at least come close to perfection.
Yeah.
Right? The goal is always perfect. For me, the goal is perfection. We obviously know nothing is perfect, but at least striving to that. You know, excellence and operating in that manner. Because my mother's always like, I just, you're always in business. I'm like, yeah, because that's what I'm about. I'm about business. I want to create. I want new opportunities to come to me, and I want to be also receptive to it. So I go.
I'm like,
I read a
amen.
lot. Yeah.
I love all of this. I just want to make sure that hold
I
on.
was just
No,
gonna
because
say-
there's only a 2-hour limit on the things, so I want to make sure that we still are rolling. Because imagine we're just talking all this stuff. Okay, yeah, we're good.
They didn't get our bars.
We still got 30 minutes. No, we're good.
No.
What was the
we're
bar? The
good.
bars. Repetition is the mother of all skills.
Oh,
Yes,
I hear that in a Bone Crusher song.
100%.
I do
Oh,
have
when
to
I
go.
let me tell you, if I could put the songs that I really want to put as part of my background music, you know how
Do
some
it.
Why not?
No.
For certain.
do you mean?
I'm
for
here
what?
listening to like Freddie Gibbs.
Who cares? I don't know what that is, but who cares?
Yeah, it's like I love hip hop, but like rap
Good.
and
Like old school rap, right? Like 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then like the new rap, it's like more underground, not mumbling. I'm sorry to anybody that mumbles, but I'm not a mumble fan. But yeah, it's like very gritty, very has that hustler attitude.
Why would you let that?
With my personal branding, I'm going to. I have to.
Why not
You
even with
have
the
to.
real estate?
Yeah.
It is.
Now in real estate.
Why?
Not yet. I'm not as comfortable yet. Maybe without the words.
Yeah, okay.
Because I still correlate real estate as something very serious.
It's not anymore.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
It's
Not
not
anymore.
anymore.
Not even close. Do you see the guy who was like, "This is my house. It's in a shitty neighborhood, but I mean, it is what it is."
Yeah,
and he's
it's the
getting
one
like
that fixed-
millions of views. Like
Wait, who?
it's not even real anymore. Nothing is real.
Yeah, that's the thing that
I'll
I'm
show
just
you, I'll
like
show you. I forget his name.
white
guy.
Excuse me, right? Yeah.
Dude, he was grinding on his girlfriend in one of the home tours. He was like, "Look at how big this living room is," and he turns off the lights and he like his girlfriend's like grinding on him. I was like, "Bro,
No. There's another one. Then I don't know if that's him. There's another one
See if
that
I could look it up."
What is he doing? He's like, oh, here I'm a homeowner, so I'm here fixing my my gate with $10 worth of this and like doing all the improvements of what the reality of being a homeowner, but it's so like
Just raw.
just raw footage. So for me, it's like I associate business with being very professional and polished and
It's
doing
not
things
corporate.
Which is
You're part of,
good.
like,
It's not a
the-
bad thing. I'm just saying you don't have to box yourself in anymore.
and that's what I'm
Slowly,
yeah,
slowly
slowly,
you're unlearning a lot of things too.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, like I don't
100%.
feel like you need to be on there like cussing up a storm, right? But like I definitely feel like you definitely have more than enough freedom to be able to like be yourself and show that you can do these voices and like you're actually funny. You're not like someone that what the thing is? It's hard for people that aren't funny, it's hard for them to
funny.
pretend funny and like get a real laugh out of people and
I'm
it just
not
looks
funny.
gross.
Like I cannot do that.
I think I'm not. I don't think I'm funny like with jokes. I'm funny with conversations.
Right.
Like when I hosted the 2 comedy shows, I was engaging with the
You
audience.
did a
the
comedy
whole-
show?
I did too.
That's so
What?
cool.
Where-
I did
why
one
did
in
you,
South
why did you
Jersey.
invite us?
That was before, and then I did one in Hoboken.
Do you still
I
do
didn't know
them?
you at that
Oh,
time.
this was a while back.
Like who
Yeah.
are you?
So
That's what I'm saying. There's so much that you do, and you're like, I want to sell houses. It's like, what? You could be like,
Oh, you don't even know me. Like I said, I think real estate is.
Yeah.
I have to thank real estate for opening the doors
Yes.
for.
yeah. No, I
being
think
who
it has
I
its
am.
place.
But
I
it's
definitely
definitely
think it
a
has its
stepping
place.
stone for you. 'Cause
Yeah.
for some people, it's like, okay, real
It's like
estate
their
is
life,
like,
and it's like all they know.
And it makes sense for that person. But no, like there's a
No,
lot
because
more.
a lot of the clients, I end
Yeah.
up helping them out of real estate. Like I end up helping them. Oh yeah, my daughter has this. Oh, let me connect you with someone in higher education. Oh, let me connect you with. It becomes more than that. It's not like I offer a different type I feel like I offer a different type, like a coaching service.
I'm telling you.
I think that's real.
what you,
I think that's a
what you
real.
do. Yeah.
And I've always
You
been,
help people with life.
yeah, and
Yeah.
Can we be your case study?
Yeah, let me.
Just-
Like, I need to think about the what
Think
is
about
it?
the pricing.
The monthly.
Think about the monthly. Think
Okay.
about how we can barter our services. I make you video content. You coach my wife.
Okay,
I mean,
that's
we can
fair.
still pay you.
We'll still pay you, but we'll figure out something that makes sense. Obviously.
Yeah, that's something that I'm still like when it
You-
comes to the book and the certifications and the study, it's there, right?
Now you need like real life.
Now
like,
it's more of like,
examples.
okay,
Yeah.
am I applying it? And I don't one of the things that stopped me is like, I can't, if I'm going to life coach someone, I'm not going to be here telling you, yeah, follow your dreams, do this, do that. But then I'm here like, oh my God, I don't even want to do this anymore. I'm one of those individuals that I can't play the part. Like I
The
can't be doing
hypocrite.
one thing.
No, me neither. Everybody
I
knows
can't
my.
be the phone. It's
Yeah.
just not in me.
I don't know how to do it.
When I was younger, I was always in trouble because of that. Because in front of my mother, I would be like, yeah, but mommy, you don't even want to go there. And
Should look at you like, yo.
not even look at me. I was already bleeding by the time she looked at me. That was a done conversation. I'm like, oh, okay, I shouldn't have said that, but that's not what you really want to do. You know, like that's how that's how I thought about it. And as life, you know, as you get structured with society's I guess terms of how you should or should not be, you learn to, I don't want to say quiet that part down, but
Yeah.
learn
Yeah.
to, in a way not say,
Mitigate
because you know people are going to be sometimes overly sensitive. But
I think if you're really clear about like how you're going to be and like
Setting
set
expectations.
expectations, it's cool. You know what I mean? Because if the expectation is like, oh,
Like this is how it is from the beginning. It's not like, oh, that came out of left field. You know what I mean?
right.
and not being afraid of like that's how you like you want to take things and that's what worked for you or what you think is going to be the best method for people. Because honestly, people need tough love.
I think
Yeah.
so. And they need someone that's going to actually advocate for them. I don't think a lot of people talk, hey, do this, do that. But they don't. I'm like, but okay, once they're in that process, right? Let's say once the momentum leaves your body and the self-discipline needs to
Yeah.
kick in and you need someone there to support, like, what happens then? That's when you need someone
That's
actually
not on you though.
part of it. Like if as
It's
a
life
coach,
is to be able
Yeah.
to give you the skills to do that.
is to assess. So
Yeah.
so a life coach is not a therapist or a psychologist.
No.
I may want to get an idea of what's
Working.
occurred in your past, but that's not what I'm focusing. My focus is how for you to be successful in your life. Like, how can I get the courage to finally do this? And it's funny because for me, it's easy to advocate for others. I'm a big sucker when it comes to kids. I will die on that corner of the street if I see something happen to a kid. And I'll be happy with that. I'll be completely happy because that's what I stand up for, right? So that, like I was saying, that's how I found my strength by advocating for others because I'm like, you know what? I did it for them. Why can't I do it for myself? And giving myself that little extra push because I know I didn't really have a strong familial support system. Not because my mom was a bad person or anything, is because she wasn't given that growing up, right? And so why would I always think of my mom, I'm like, you know what? She was just another Barbie girl trying to make it in this world.
It's true.
You know, and having that empathy, and that's what's helped me. Like, I was with her
Yeah,
yesterday and laugh things off. And there are times that you can see the, you know, like, oh man, I should have been this, or I should have been that. But and I feel like that's the beauty of being a mother, that now you understand that, you know what, it's easier to forgive and set your boundaries, but it's just, you give them that freedom of like, you know what, I'm sorry, and move on because you want your mother around. I know I always want my mother around, despite what's happened in the past. I always want her around. That's my mom. And in our culture, our moms are like crucial. And I know growing up, it's like, oh my God, you can't disrespect your parents, you know? Now you see a lot of,
disrespect.
Soft kids being disrespectful, yeah.
yeah, like, no. Mm-mm. No, that's not happening. That is not happening. I can't even like think about it. Like I remember this is how I knew I was doing good with my daughter. We were in the supermarket one time and this kid was going crazy. Going crazy, 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 crazy. And when I say crazy, just, Mom, you're this, cursing. And I'm like, my daughter squeeze, you know, the little squeeze?
Yeah.
She squeezed my hand and she looked at me. She's like, Mom, that's not good.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not good. I'm like, is that kid going to be okay when he gets home? And I'm like, I don't know. And then I'm like, would you act like that? And she's like, something in my eye. And she's like, no, Mom, you don't do that. And I'm like, you don't do that. I'm like, why? She's like, yeah, you don't do that. She didn't even know why. She was like, And I'm like, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I respect is the foundation when it comes to my daughter and I. And it's funny when you see us next to each other. She's very witty. She says a lot of jokes that I'm like, what? She's wrong. Like, what are you saying? But I'm very proud of the woman she's becoming. I really am.
That's awesome.
That's
I really
amazing.
am. And oh my God, it's so scary of like, oh, hey, I'm going to go with my friends. And I'm like, why? Like, let's do facials in the house, you know? Oh, and I do want to share. I recently took her to the spa and we were talking about spas. And, you know, I bought her the meal and everything. And we finished with our food and we're drinking tea. And she grabs my hand. You know, like how older people in movies grab their hand and go like this? I'm like drinking my tea. And she grabs my hand like that. And I'm like,
why?
I'm like, what happened? And she's like, her eyes are watery. She's like, Mom, I'm so grateful for you. She's like, you know, I understand you didn't always have it like this. And now we can come to spas whenever. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, that's so thoughtful to say because it's like, you know what? At least you're seeing the investment that I'm putting in my work. I don't want to call it a sacrifice. I want to call it an investment to see that, look, you know, you're chilling. You're pretty good. You know, things are okay because she was able to, you know, obviously I shielded her from a lot of things, but she was able to experience life with me. And when you have your kids young, you grow with them. So part of your identity, it's so fixated on just you being a mother, especially when you're a present parent. Once I came out of the service, I was there, her activities, taking her. It was just me and her. So I guess just she was part of the process. I made sure she was part of the process and didn't lie about like, you know what, maybe today we're having pizza, even though you want some rice and beans, you know, I'll get it for you tomorrow. And being okay with that. Because that made her a little bit more understanding with me. Like there were times that I would come home. Oh my God, I'm not gonna cry. But I would come home so tired. And I would just knock out. I would wake up with my shoes taken off, with my belt taken off, my jeans unbuckled. You know, that way it won't be tight. My shirt unbuttoned, my makeup taken off because she would clean my face. And she would put my hair in like the little bonnet so it wouldn't be all over. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah,
I know.
Taking care of you. So
and that's the thing that I didn't realize, that she took as much care for me as I took care of her. So when she left, oh my goodness. Yeah, I was like, I told her, I was like, who's gonna cook for me? Like, what's wrong with you? No. But yeah, it was even though she was just an hour away, I'm like, I'm not going to be like, I miss you. You know, I'm pretty sure she's already having that.
Of course.
She's feeling that, you know, acclimating, dorming. So I'm like, okay, I'm keeping my cool, but I would be like, oh, I would want to text her. And I remember one time I texted her, I'm like, oh, hey, what are you doing? She's like, I'm in class. No, like, I love you. I'm in class. I'm like, okay.
That's so crazy.
So, yeah.
It makes me feel like I wish I had that same connection with my mom. But it's funny because, like, a lot of your story reminds me of her story because she also had me at a young age and it was, like, just me and her, right? But it was always just me and her. And at one point, she held on to me so tightly that it actually caused like a rift, right? And it wasn't like where we can continue we continued on like so closely. Now that I have my girls, we've gotten a lot closer, and it is because there's like that forgiveness. It's like, oh my god, this is so hard. Like,
And having those
Yeah.
difficult conversations, because there's times that I'll talk to my mother and I'm like, I didn't know you went through that. I didn't
Yeah.
know any of that. So I think about it like, you didn't know the language barrier. You weren't, like quote unquote successful with the American dream. So it's like, it must have been tough for you. So I tried to look at her just like as another female, another
Yeah,
woman,
exactly.
right? Versus as my mom, that she should have taken care of me more, and like not get over it, but like
No, but it
grow
is.
up,
Get over it,
grow
yeah.
No,
up.
but it is get over it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think I had that realization or that insight until I became a mother myself. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
It's like I get it now.
I get it. You know, you're a human. This is completely new. Like, you're trying to raise me, and then also in like a single mother situation.
Yeah, it's tough.
Going from one country to another. It's like a completely different, like, eye opening. I was like, oh my goodness, like, how did you do it, and how are you doing it? You know, like,
Yeah, and having that like empathy for them versus focusing on the past of how how they made you feel, because if you do that, you won't be able to even give the relationship a chance to grow, right? And you want to have that. That's grandma. You want that.
yeah,
No matter what, you
100%.
still want that. So
yeah.
you have to put your part into it, even though you don't want to, because there's times that I'm like, did you forget what happened? Like, relax, But at the same time, I'm like, okay, it happened. It's okay. But I'm like, can you console me instead of the other way around? But you know what? That it is what it is.
Yeah.
It really is. I'm just grateful that I still have my mother around. And that's all.
Yeah,
That's
that's all.
I feel like that's what life is about, is just being of service to other people, even if it is always putting them above you. And I don't know if that's like the right way to look at it, but that's the only way I know how. And it's like just always finding a way to serve someone else. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like looking at them as you always have something to learn from them. Like, I love to learn. That's what kept me in school. That's what keeps me pursuing more certifications, degrees, whatever, right? So when I look at someone, I'm like, you know what? Even if they're young or have no education, I'm like, they're in my life probably to learn something. Instead of coming into the conversation with ego and with expertise and sometimes with logic, coming into it as a regular conversation, what can you teach me? Because maybe you never know. Some of the greatest change of perspectives that I've received have been very random and
Like unintentional, right?
unintentional. And sometimes I feel that, you know how sometimes you feel you're inclined to tell people something? I feel like that's the spirit talking through you. Especially if it's something positive, or it's something like, hey, maybe you need to reassess your priorities, because this isn't working for you, girlfriend. But having people around you that can tell you that, and it's not coming from a bad place, it's coming from like, this isn't working. You're going down the wrong track.
Yeah.
That's why your circle of influence has to be important.
It's so important.
It has to be, especially for me, since I'm a mom of a young girl. I feel like it's even more important for that, because I feel like you're just so vulnerable with little girls. You really are. And there's so many opportunists out here in this world that
so nasty.
you just have to be careful, have to keep your guard up when it comes to certain things. So having that open communication, talking to your kids, don't get offended by their curiosity. And, luckily we have YouTube now that can teach them lessons along. Right?
YouTube University.
It's easier,
It becomes a little bit like, with the way technology has advanced, I feel like there are very little excuses for us not to do what we want to do. And that's what I tell myself, because I'm like, why not? Right? Why not? And when my daughter told me, she's like, Mom, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm like, hey, whatever. But yeah, as I'm paying her tuition bill, right? You're fine. You're fine. But yeah.
I love that. I think
It's amazing.
I
I've
think-
learned so much.
Yeah. Definitely got to look into the whole life coach thing. That'll be cool.
Take it seriously, because if you
The
keep
voiceover
hearing it from
thing.
other people, then
Yeah. And the thing is like I have the certification. It's not like I don't have
Yeah.
it. I have it already. I've had it for over 2 years. But prior to that, I was I've always been a mentor when I was in higher education. When I was in the EOF program, I was also a mentor. And I like being a service to others, because if I can't like figure it out myself, I'm like, you know what, maybe I can help someone.
Mm-hmm.
Because who knows, maybe that's where I'm still finding my strength.
That's where you could probably learn. Like,
Oh, 100%.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you haven't been able to get it and helping others do it, it's like what's going to teach you to do it too. I mean, that's how I loved school, and like I loved teaching what I like just learned, so that I can even understand it better myself. Like that's how I was able to like pick up subjects and like
Really?
yeah.
So what, like repeating it or like teaching it again once you learn it?
Yeah, teaching it again once we learn it. So like that's how that was my study session. You know?
So like having study groups would be good for you.
yeah.
Okay.
Like that's how
And conversing with like other people, like what they
like the whiteboard and like that's my favorite thing.
I have a
It's like-
huge whiteboard.
yeah.
We do too. It's like 12 feet, or what is it, like
It's
8
in
by
the
4?
other-
It's 8 by 4
yeah.
feet.
No, I have to get rid of it. It's huge.
We
And
can-
it moves.
Oh wait,
That'd be
what? Oh, we
cool.
need
Oh my
one.
God,
You need one?
Yeah,
yes.
sell it to me.
I will give it to you. You just need to pick it up. Can you pick it
I
up
gotta
tonight?
pick up tonight.
You have a-
we our
I
babies.
have to go. I have to go in like 15 minutes.
Okay,
Not even.
Are we good
Yeah.
with the girls? Have you been like keeping
Texting,
tabs?
yeah,
Okay,
for
okay,
sure.
okay.
That's
Because
why
I
if you see me
totally
on my
forgot about. We were
phone,
supposed to be there
Yes.
at 4.
If I can give you that
Mm-hmm.
whiteboard, but you just have to pick it up.
Deal.
It's in Fairfield.
Can you come to our networking event that we're hosting and that we'll be using that whiteboard for?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like just the blast of music.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? Let's just. I'm actually going there now
Where?
to the office because there are a couple of things that I need to get rid of.
Okay.
no way.
So then how about we?
Yeah, we could go.
I don't know how you end it.
Oh, we didn't even do the intro.
Oh no! We
So this is Gloria.
Get ready for all the razzle dazzle and spizzazz. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes.
And the voices
Yeah.
and the
All the ingredients.
All the-
You can have all these
the
ingredients, but
sazon.
you cannot make the same sauce. You cannot deliver it.
ooh, you could have the ingredients, but you can't deliver it.
Never.
Oh, I
Never.
like that. I
Let
like
me tell
that.
you, I even offended someone by saying that. I joke. Somebody was like, "Oh, you know, I can take your job," and I was like,
you
"Honey,
can't.
you can never take my job. You can never do the job the same way I do." Because he
But that
came
was a
very. He was like,
joke.
"Whoa, I'm a man," and I'm like, "Okay, I know this." Like I was just joking, relax.
Oh, he said that after?
Yeah, I offended him, but not intentionally because I was like, "You can never do my job as good as I
He's
do."
like, I'm a man.
But he was like, "I'm a truck driver," and I'm like, "Good for you. When I have cargo, I'll let you know." Like, what do you want me to say after that? But it was a joke. Like I said it laughing.
Yeah.
But he did not like that. I guess he thought I was gonna be like, you know.
He tried to assert his dominance, and you just like,
No.
Not.
It's not
so
happening with me. I will
funny.
argue with you for days, especially if it's coming from a bad place. If I know it's coming from an egotistical place, oh my goodness, I will make it my mission to crush that down. I'm gonna help you.
Yes.
Character development. Let's go. And if I make you cry, even better. I unleash drama there. Even better. Come on. Just kidding. Straight
Wait,
bully.
I love this.
I'm actually a bully.
like,
That's what I.
My goal
Your
is to
neighborhood
make
friendly
you cry.
bully.
Yeah. That's my.
I love that. I love that.
Don't enable the bulliness.
No, that's good.
That's so bad.
Listen, every man needs
It's
to cry. I
healing.
cry all the time, so it's fine. But
I feel like you have to release, and
Yeah.
you have to ask yourself: if I'm getting offended over a stranger telling me something, maybe I
I
can.
have problems.
or for
have a
multiple
problem.
people, yeah, it
Yeah.
can't be them. It's
Yeah.
gotta be.
Yeah.
But some people don't even reflect. That's the problem.
A lot of people don't reflect, and I don't
Yeah.
even think it's their fault. I think it's the lack of time. They don't have the time.
That's below
I don't think it's like a
themselves.
time.
No?
No.
No, you can make time.
'Cause, like,
5 minutes
when you're-
before you
yeah.
go to bed, 5 minutes
can.
wake up.
If
It's
you're
not
in your
much.
head, you're making time. You know what I'm saying?
I think maybe the way they think, like having a scarce mindset.
Because he was always like, I always talk to myself, and that's something I've never done.
She doesn't
like
talk to
I
herself
just
at all.
I don't know
No?
how to. I
say,
don't know how.
We did
to.
once in the car. She was like, "How do I talk to myself?" I was like, "Ask yourself a question, and then just stop talking. Just listen and just wait." Because sometimes like I'll ask myself a question, and it's like I don't know the answer yet. But like it's because like my inner self is like thinking about it, and then eventually it'll like come, or like it'll be like my voice, or it'll be like God's voice. And then I'll be like,
Yes.
I don't know the difference sometimes. And I'll be like, well, I want to do this, but I don't know if that's like my ego or if that's like God actually telling me I should do it. And then that's like an internal conflict that I have to, but like I'll have that conversation within myself.
Record yourself. Ask yourself. What I started doing in my notes, I would put those questions and just say them out loud. There's nothing. What's that? What's that verse? Basically, you know, your words. The tongue is the beginning and the end of all. There's like a
Yes.
very popular verse,
Yeah.
but it's like start practicing. Like I have affirmations, one side of the little whiteboard, one for my daughter and one for me.
Do you
And
feel
in
like
the
they
morning,
help? Really?
and it could be just like, you know what, hey, you know, my name is Gloria Derteano, and I'm capable, beautiful, smart, and I'm going to have a rocking day. And you're gonna have a crap day, but you're gonna remind yourself.
She was gonna be like, and you're gonna have a great day. It's
But
like, no, it's
it's probably not gonna happen, right? But just having that enthusiasm with
energy.
yourself, because there's nobody at the end of the day, you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to like that person. It's the only body you have to live in.
Make it work.
Make it work.
And if you don't, change it.
Yeah. I mean, it's easier said than done.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my goodness, I could talk for days.
hard. Yeah.
Easier said than done. But actually applying it, that's something else. That takes courage.
How do you gain that courage?
Relationship with God, relationship with self. Having the courage to step in faith.
I love that.
Ooh,
I
that
love
wasn't even
that.
me speaking.
I got chills.
Oh,
I got
stop
goosebumps.
it.
I got goosebumps.
It's the kids waiting for
Yeah,
you. That's what they are. That's what it is. That's the goosebumps. That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, that's my spidey senses.
I have to get going. I'm at.
No, I think we're
like,
done. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. I don't even know if it's still recording
Mm-hmm.
because dude, you're the first person that like we ran through the whole tape with. So
Yes.
like, give me some.